right? One of which I remembered to enter, and the other I did not. The one that I remembered to enter was Spain-France draw, meaning it was going to need extra time.
Okay.
And it did not. Spain, better side, 1-2-1 semifinal, first semifinal of the Euros, second one today. England, Netherlands should be a blast. If for no other reason, should be fun to see who Gareth Southgate leaves out of his starting lineup, or won't, because he's reluctant to make any changes. So I had that as going into extra time, and honestly, it was 2-1. In the 25th minute, it was 2-1, and that's how it ended. I was surprised that we didn't get another goal after that. So that's the one I made. The one I forgot was the more goofy one, which was Argentina 2-0. I said Argentina would win 2-0. That was plus 490, but I forgot to go do it, even though I had plenty of opportunity watching my son with back-to-back soccer trainings yesterday. I could have easily just punched it up, but nah.
You would have crushed that one.
Yeah, plus 490 is definitely would be a crushing moment, but if you don't actually hit send, you didn't send that email or whatever it is. Anyway, there you go. So I'm upset with me. Therefore, I will not treat myself to ice cream after the show.
Well, chance for redemption tonight.
Yeah, I haven't thought about what I'm going to do. I'm already set the Copa. I'll tell you when we place bets later. I'll pat myself on the back for the Copa America.
Okay.
I'm already set right there. I've got at least one winning ticket. I might have two. So that I did at the very beginning of this. So why don't we start? And here's our Hurricanes update. And we are also going to talk about the Totino's Big 12 Media Day. Love that so much.
Tostinos.
It's a Totino's.
Oh, Totino's, sorry.
Yeah, the pizza rolls, not the chip.
Yes.
Right?
Not Tostitos, Totino's.
Exactly. Remember when Brent Musburger said for all the Tostitos? That became the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl?
Yeah.
Gosh, Brent Musburger, bless his heart, man. Love that man. All right, so here's today's Canes update. Did Martin Necas really turn down contract extension offers with both Buffalo and Winnipeg? These are kind of rumors out there. I don't know that there's any validity to that. But we did find out at the draft that the Hurricanes had a deal with Columbus for the 4th overall pick, plus maybe something else. But it fell apart because Necas wouldn't agree to a contract extension in Columbus. So the Blue Jackets weren't going to do that and potentially have Necas for just 1 year. They weren't going to do that, which I don't blame them a bit. Although you control his rights for 2 years because he has 2 more years of restricted free agency before he can go where he wants. Anyway, so would this be a third team that now Necas has said, nah, I'm not signing a contract extension? So as I'm thinking about this, there are many, many ways to look at this. Is it good or is it bad for Carolina? Because there are people out there, oh, man, Marty's exerting leverage. He doesn't want to play ball with anybody. He doesn't. This might be good for Carolina because it's possible that he might look at this as the best opportunity for him to rebuild his value, which I would point out that would be the correct way of looking at it. It's not like Necas, even playing this suffocating restricted style that he's playing.
Of course.
Not at all. But I would point out, what do you have, 71 points 2 years ago?
72, I believe.
Right? 53 last year, whatever it is, right? He's basically about 0.75 points a game the last 2 years. Well, if you were to do that for a third and a fourth year and be around a 60 to 65 point per year player, well, that would put you in line to probably make between $6.5 and $7 million a year as a free agent. Then you throw in Then you throw in the physical tools that he's got, the skating ability, the size, right? His age. He's 25, right?
Prime years ahead of him.
So if I were Necas, I wouldn't sign a long-term contract with anybody. Nobody. I wouldn't sign a long-term contract right now with Carolina. If the Hurricanes came at him with 8 years and $6 million, I'd say, nah, not really. Because here's what we know about Necas. And this is why, from the very beginning of, well, they're going to trade Necas, I'm like, yeah, I still think they want to keep him. Now, I did think that they were never going to keep Gensel and Necas. It was going to be one or the other. So, but I never thought that they were ultimately going to re-sign Jake Gensel. Everybody who's listened to me talk about it has heard me say that. But it became apparent before the draft and at the draft that they were trying to re-sign Gensel. They did a poor job of that because they didn't get him, but they were trying. And at that point, they had pivoted to not only trading Necas, but likely trading Necas really for futures. If you were going to bring Gensel back, you were going to let Necas walk, and you didn't need NHL return. You needed high draft picks, prospects. You were going to need futures because, as we know about the Hurricanes' salary cap situation right now, they don't have a lot of room to add.
No, they don't.
So you couldn't have Gensel at 8 or even the fantasy of 7.5 and Necas and Jarvis and Drury. Somebody was going to have to go unless you were going to make two very difficult choices, which they still could, which would be moving on Yevgeny Kuznetsov and probably buying out Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And even then, you're probably not able to do all four of those players. So you were going to have to find some cost-cutting somewhere. But that's a tangent. So when they didn't get Gensel, to me, the best move for them wasn't to trade Necas, but to work with him and get him playing the type of hockey he can play at least for 2 years. And ultimately, here's where I think it's going to end up with Marty Necas, in that he's going to sign. I don't think we'll get to arbitration. I think the organization still likes him. Have they tried to move him? Yeah, but he was not like being actively shopped. He was a piece that would have been necessary in a couple of failed trades, or maybe 3, right? Maybe Matthew Tkachuk, maybe Timo Meier, maybe Elias Patterson. All 3 of those potential trades likely would have sent Necas the other way, right? So, and maybe he's put off by that. I would be too, but the other way to look at it is, did that team want me? There are 2 ways to look at a trade. One team wants to move you, and the other team wants to bring you in. And I ultimately think it's business. Necas gets it, but the best thing for his career is to stay here and thrive here and then have control over where he goes. 2 years, whatever the number is. 11? Right? 2 years at 11.
Could just be 1 year.
Yeah, but then we're in the same position again next year.
He should be unrestricted next year, right?
No, it's got 2 years of RFA.
2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the the cap-friendly website is no longer.
Oh, yeah, using Puckpedia.
I am almost positive that he's got 2 more years. Either way, right? So if it's a 1-year deal, whatever, this is the best place to rebuild his value. And if you're Necas, that's what you do. You rebuild your value there. Here, rather. And I think that the way he fits, he's got friends on this team. He's got familiarity with the team. I know the head coach wants more of him, but I think the head coach likes him. I think that Marty always has wanted to play center. And you know what? I always wanted to be 6'3". It's not going to happen for me. And it's probably not going to happen for Necas. He hasn't demonstrated the defensive ability to play, but here's what, because I think all athletes thrive on responsibility. Okay? All athletes thrive on it. A couple of years ago, Necas was part of the penalty kill. He enjoyed it. He liked it. Last year, he wasn't. There were a couple of moments where he was involved in the penalty kill last year. But with Teuvo Teravainen gone, does that open up an opportunity? And by the way, we don't know what Jesper Fast's health issue is. That could be a long-term injury.
Major question mark.
It could be a retirement because it's
which would suck.
On so many levels. Would also make it even more important that they brought back Jordan Martinook, by the way. But if you lose 2 penalty killers off last year's team, does that open the door for Necas to come back into that unit? One of the things that Rod Brindamore loves about using his top offensive players, if you are a great skater, you have the raw ability to be a good penalty killer. Mm-hmm. I don't think Necas was one of their best penalty killers a couple of years ago, but he wasn't incompetent at it. And there's another way to build your value and by the way, create opportunity for yourself. And we are relying upon you. Everybody wants to feel like they are necessary. And I think that would be a huge thing for Marty Necas.
We saw a couple years ago when Sebastian Aho started getting some penalty killing time, and all of a sudden his offensive numbers went up too, just because he was on the ice. He wasn't sitting on the bench for 2 minutes straight, and he was getting opportunities shorthanded. He and Teuvo Teravainen together.
They both showed up on the penalty kill in the same game.
Exactly.
Right? For the first time, and it was Whalers night.
Yep.
That first year, I think it was against Boston, and they combined for 2 shorthanded goals. Mm-hmm. And where has this been?
Exactly.
Right? So, yeah, I do think that it's something, I think it's something we are going to see very, very soon. Hopefully it'll happen for Necas, and I hope it happens here. I think it will happen here. And here's the other thing, and this will be the last thing I'll say about this, other than to plug something. For Marty Necas to get the most out of his ability, he can't try to take the easy way out. The easy way out is just playing in a system that lets him do what he wants, right? But that's not the easy way out. You want to play on a winning team. Everybody wants to win. Well, there are parameters around that. There are, we'll just use the term guardrails for that. And I think Necas, and I think he does accept it. I just think that he's been frustrated probably by losing some opportunity. I also think, and this is no fault of anybody's, keep this in mind with Necas. He played 4 years on an entry-level deal. Because the Hurricanes were allowed to slide his contract by a year.
Yeah.
The first year he was here, played the first 7 games here in 18-19, and then went to the minor leagues and spent the entire year in the AHL. He wasn't part of the team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals the first year, right? That year did not count in his entry-level deal. He played the next 3 years on an entry-level contract. I'm not blaming anybody. Those were the rules. The Hurricanes didn't have to, even if they extended him, he still had to play the extra year. So he spent 4 years on an entry-level contract, one of those at the AHL level. So financially speaking, he's a year behind. He signed the 2-year, $3 million a year contract, right? So entry-level, yeah, I think he's got 2 more years of entry-level, of team control before he is off on the free agent, unrestricted free agent market. So we'll see how it plays out, but I think ultimately Marty Necas will stay here. And here's my plug. Tonight, Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube, about 10 o'clock. We're going to dig into the prospects, and maybe there's a prospect or two that can make this team right here. I don't know. There's a lot of love for Bradley Nadeau. We found out yesterday that Felix Unger-Sorum is going to spend this year in North America.
I went to prospect camp yesterday. Those two look good.
Yeah. So, and I know there's some defenders that skate really well.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what's up, but we're gonna dig into the prospects tonight on the Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube, right around 10 o'clock. All right, we should have other things to discuss. Oh, let's go to the Big 12 Media Day. Let's head to the toaster oven that is Las Vegas.
The microwave.
Right. My God, it's very hot. By the way, the Big 12 sense of humor, and we'll explain why in a minute, but It is the Totino's Big 12 Football Media Days. That's right. The pizza roll people, which I ain't not going to lie, those have a spot.
Yeah, they do.
Right? I mean, I haven't bought a box. I don't know whether they come in a box, right?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't bought a bag. I haven't bought a box of Totino's pizza rolls probably in 30 years. Right? But I know all about them. I've had them. They're good. They're tasty. They are dangerous because you can light your innards on fire.
It's either still ice cold or boiling lava.
Yeah, they put a piece of. Excuse me, I'm drooling. Maybe I'm hungry.
It's the Totinos.
Put a piece of like a charcoal, fire hot charcoal in your mouth.
Basically.
So they are sponsored. Jim Phillips, ACC, get on that. Make some extra cash. I'm sure it's not a ton of money, but it's fun. Anyway, so at the Big 12 Football Media Day, which, by the way, is being held in Las Vegas for the first time, exactly where Pac-12 Media Day was last year, where the Pac-12 championship game has been played. And since they basically swept the leg after Southern Cal and UCLA, Oregon, and Washington left for the Big Ten by taking all other Pac-12 schools not named Oregon State and Washington State, they effectively killed the rest of the league. It is sort of rubbing it in the eye of Pac-12 fans that, hey, we're invading your space, even though it does make geographic sense. Las Vegas, Arizona, Utah, I get it. But it is, again, I think this is the way they do business in the Big 12. And Brett Yormark, who is the commissioner of the Big 12, is a bit of a braggart. It's not always correct, but he's a bit of a braggart. And here's what he had to say about his league as a football conference.
And all eyes are now on the Big 12 for all the right reasons. And I think it's safe to say we are more relevant now than ever before. Before I look forward, I'd like to recap where we've been for the last 12 months. Since our last football media day, we added the four corners and solidified ourselves as one of the top 3 conferences in America.
What? Okay. One of the top 3 conferences in America. That would be accurate.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
That would be accurate. Shouts to Gene Wilder. If we combined the Big Ten and the SEC into one giant behemoth super conference, right? Because those 2 conferences have no relation to any other conference below it. Now, if Brett Yormark is talking about top 3 conferences after those 2, I don't disagree. He is correct. But he's not.
Maybe he's still thinking the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 have an alliance.
And we're not in that alliance. And maybe he thinks that's all one
Maybe
conference.
that's all one. That's all one.
He hasn't. He should have noticed that the Pac-12 is not there anymore. Well, the Pac-12 was part of the alliance. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he would be right then. Let's do tail of the tape, shall we? Let's do tail of the tape. How many schools has the Big 12 lost? Basically in the last 15 years, 20 years. Nebraska, out. Missouri, out. Texas A&M, out. Colorado, out. Only came back because there was no other place to go. Texas, out. Oklahoma, out. ACC schools lost. Maryland, replaced by arguably a better athletic, not arguably, definitely a better athletic department, has gone through it the last few years. Louisville.
Yeah.
Immediate replacement. So, what are we doing, Brett? I would point this out. ACC plays better football than the Big 12.
Facts.
The current Big 12. Not Texas, Oklahoma Big 12, the current Big 12. Especially now that Florida State is back. Clemson has taken a step back. They're not what they were, 7 or 8 years ago, but they're still pretty good. They basically win 10 games by accident.
ACC still has more titles lately.
Yeah. Virginia Tech, by the way, pretty good. They're going to be good this year.
Think so?
Yeah. Oh, Chip Patterson has guaranteed it.
All right.
That's all I need to know. By the way, Chip Patterson comes up at 1:15 today. The ACC has better media markets. I mean, Does that matter? Kinda, maybe. Doesn't hurt. Better media markets, better financials. ACC paid out more money than the Big 12 last year.
Facts.
Right? I mean, it's close. They're basically, it's not worth arguing over, but the financials are better.
More is more.
But what the ACC isn't is more forward thinking. And therein lies the problem with the ACC, because Brett Yormark is willing to try anything. He's talking about private equity. I'm not a big fan of bringing private equity into the league, but they're already have had discussions about changing the name from the Big 12 to the All-State 12. By the way, I would take this opportunity to get rid of the number 12 since you have more than 12 teams. Why not do just the All-State League? Why do we have to attach a number to it? By the way, for every person who clowns the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, for having 2 teams on the Pacific Coast, I want the same energy when we talk about the Big 10 with 18 teams.
Yeah.
I just want the same energy. Clown that. Look, it's to be clowned, the fact that we have the Atlantic Coast Conference with 2 teams on the Pacific Coast. I get it. It is dumb. But the Big East in basketball has a whole bunch of teams in the Midwest time zone. What's East about Omaha?
Yeah, Wichita's not in the East.
Wichita is not in the Big East.
Oh, that's right, they're not.
But
I'm thinking Creighton.
Creighton's in Omaha.
Yeah.
What's East about Omaha? What's East about Milwaukee? What's East about Chicago?
Denver lacrosse plays in the Big East.
What are we doing? Please. I get it. It's comedy that we have an ACC with 2 teams in California. I get it. And those 2 teams. We got the wrong teams in California. Although I love Stanford and Cal. Big fan of the game. Anyway, I ran out of time. We're going to have to, at 1 o'clock, I promise you this, at 1 o'clock, we're making fun of Mike Gundy. Okay? 1 o'clock, we are going to make fun of Mike Gundy. When we come back, however, the biggest story coming out of USA basketball has nothing to do with LeBron James or the Olympic team. We'll talk about it with Rob Dauster of Field 68 next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard. You look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Hey, contact lens wearers, are you tired of wasting time and money every day putting contacts in, taking them out, cleaning, ordering new ones, glasses, prescription sunglasses? Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK can change your life. About 5 minutes per eye. You could go back to work the very next day. 2 years, 0 interest financing is available, and $1,000 off is available. 919-510-6830. 919-510-6830. Make the call. You can go online, traverslasik.com.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct Summer Sales starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's winds blowing across a fruited plain, and also your new fire pit, which subsequently sets your gazebo ablaze. It's hard-hitting football, and an even harder-hitting price estimate from your general contractor. That's a star-spangled bummer. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
Rob Dauster, Field of 68 founder. We talk to Jeff Goodman all the time. I think it's our first conversation with Rob. I appreciate your time on a sweltering summer day here in North Carolina, but everybody's cool because they can't stop talking about Cooper Flagg. So even though the story should be the U.S. Olympic team, and I guess we could talk about Kawhi Leonard pulling out, all the buzz has been about Cooper Flagg. So what have you guys been chatting about on the Field of 68 regarding Flagg and Duke and what his potential is?
Well, I'll tell you this. I am the weirdo that went out and found the guy that spent 30 minutes recording a video of Cooper Flagg's fourth quarter performance against Team USA, the select team.
Yeah.
And I watched every possession of it, and I watched him just to see what he could do because it is the summer and I don't have anything else to watch, and we're trying to get that basketball fix fed. And I'll tell you this, the concern is probably too strong of a word here, but the reason why I am trying to personally keep my expectations a little bit lower for Cooper Flagg coming in is that he is going to be 17 years old until I believe mid to late December. I think it's December 21st is his birthday.
Yep.
If he was born 10 days later, he would not be eligible for the 2025 NBA draft. He would have to go to the 2026 NBA draft, regardless of whether or not he was in college this season. And when you are that age and you are coming into college basketball, it's not an easy transition to make. The development between players physically, mentally, their understanding of the game, and that what should be their senior year in high school is enormous. Like that 16 to 20 year range is when you make the biggest jump as a basketball player. And with Cooper, it's okay. Let's try to keep this in check because he is going to be a 17-year-old playing against guys like R.J. Davis is 23, Hunter Dickinson is 24. Like these are guys that are 6 and 7 years older than him, fifth-year players, sixth-year players in college. And then you go and you watch him play against these guys in the NBA, some of the NBA's best players, and like just to keep it in context, this is a practice. This is a scrimmage. I guarantee that like Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday and these guys aren't playing the way that they would if this was, say, the NBA playoffs. But it's still, you're going up against these guys and you are performing at a level that is about probably better than what we expected. And so my two biggest takeaways were, one, I think the jump shot is better than I thought it was. Like, you can see that he's been putting in the work. He shot 40% in high school this past season. He made, he had a hang dribble pull up off of a ball screen over Anthony Davis. He had a catch and shoot three in the corner. Yeah. Like, I think the jump shot is real. And he also has really improved his ball handling. Before, it was kind of like, it was functional. It was a little bit high. I don't want to say it was the tightest handle in the world, but he kind of got the job done. Whereas now, he's bringing the ball up in these scrimmages against Drew Holiday, who is a shorter, tougher, stronger defender, the kind of guy that can climb up under Cooper Flagg and give that what I thought would give him problems, and it didn't give him any problems. So I am now sitting here saying, like, I'm trying to temper my expectations, but also, like, my hype train is kind of getting out of control. Like, this dude is really, really good. And the last thing I'll say about him, my favorite thing about him as a player is, like, he is uber talented defensively. He is a great shot blocker. He is a big-time scorer. He is a guy that can get to the glass. He is someone that can create for his teammates. He's unselfish, but kind of at his core, like, he's all of these things. He's one of the most talented prospects that we've had coming into college, probably since Zion Williamson. But my favorite thing about him is he's, like, at his core, he's a connective piece. He is a player that makes everybody around him better. He is a guy that will, he'll average some points, he'll average some rebounds, he'll get the counting stats, but he's also going to average a bunch of assists. He's also going to be a guy that makes the right pass, that makes the right rotation defensively, that blocks some shots, that gets some steals, that is switchable. He's everything that you want out of a team to put on the roster and make the team better overall. And he also happens to be the most talented dude that Duke is going to have next year. And I think that Shire did a really good job putting talent around him. I'm really fired up about what Duke can be next season.
Rob Dauster, Field of 68, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at Rob Dauster on Twitter. I also watched, I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but I stumbled upon the 27 and a half minute video yesterday. And I also actually fast forwarded until they put him in the game, because I don't think he was in the game in the first part of the fourth quarter. So I fast forwarded until I saw, there's number 31. And my only takeaway was that he didn't look out of place. If I didn't know that there was a kid, a 17-year-old on the court, I wouldn't have known he was 17. He just looked like he fit, and he looked like he was in command of the court when he was out there. It was fun to watch. The highlights don't do it justice because, again, he just looked like he belonged. What do you make of? I guess nobody should be surprised that Kawhi withdrew. Load management before the Olympics is probably what we always should have expected from Kawhi.
Yeah, they get that one in there. No, what it was he saw Cooper Flagg coming up, and he's like, you know what? I can't compete anymore. This guy's got next. Give him my spot. Give him my number. Give him my jersey.
I think they're going to add Derek White. I have no idea what they're going to do. I don't know that the last, what ultimately becomes the last spot on the Olympic roster. I'm not sure what that really does. They're probably going to win the gold medal, although it will not be a pushover because the rest of the world has great players as well. Let me two other things I really want to ask you about. The first is Danny Hurley, who signed his long contract with UConn, 6 years, $50 million. That is just an absolutely massive deal. I'm not as up on college basketball coaching contract as I am with football. This has to be the number one. It's got to be bigger than Cal's at Arkansas, yes?
No, so I think that he'll be the third highest paid coach in college basketball if he doesn't hit the bonuses. I think Bill Self is making, I think he's making 8 figures, and then the contract that Cal got at Arkansas is, I believe, bigger than Hurley's. But top 3 paid coach in America. Well, also, the thing you got to remember, he turned down $20 million guaranteed more from the Lakers to be able to come back to a program that he knew was not going to be able to pay him what some of these other programs are paying their head. Like, he knew he wasn't going to be making Bill Self money at UConn, and I think that he came back despite that because he knows what UConn is. I don't think this was necessarily a money decision for him, right? Like, if you're making $8 million a year, or you're making $10 million a year, functionally, what is the difference? Like, you're probably living in the same house. You're probably eating at the same restaurants, right? Like, maybe your grandkid's grandkid is going to have a little bit less in his inheritance when it gets there. But, like, it's when you get to that level of money, like, it all It is how big can your yacht really be?
You probably have the same floor seats at Billy Joel.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's going to be driving the same car. Like it is what it is. So I don't think it was necessarily a money decision for him. I think the reason he is back is that he is someone that appreciates the history of basketball. He is someone that understands what a legacy is, right? And he's someone that knows his father is considered one of the greatest high school basketball coaches of all time. We all know how good Bobby Hurley was as a player, and he has a chance to do something that hasn't been done in his lifetime, winning 3 straight NBA college basketball championships. And when you combine that with the fact that you're going to you would have gone to a Lakers organization where LeBron James probably has all the power, right? Where you don't know how long LeBron's going to be there, where you got to deal with a situation where the 40-year-old best player on the team, biggest name in the NBA, just so happened to get his son a 4-year guaranteed contract as a 55th pick, which nobody in the history of the 55th pick has ever gotten before, right? You really want to deal with those dynamics. And you put all that together with the fact that there is a level of loyalty that he has to his players. If this happened after Alex Caravan had made the decision to go to the NBA instead of staying in college, I don't know if Dan would have made the same decision. I think he probably most likely would have been back, but when you have a guy that helps you win 2 championships, has been a part of your program for 3 seasons, make the decision to come back and say, hey, I'm going to ride with you one more time. Mm-hmm. And then 4 days later, you're like, hey, you know what, by the way, I'm out. We're not going to ride together one more time. I don't think that's the kind of thing that Hurley would do. So that's a long-winded way of saying there's guys that are supposed to be in college, and I think Dan Hurley is a guy that's supposed to be in college, and I think we're going to see that pay off and pay dividends for UConn moving forward.
And he also said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that his dream NBA job was the Knicks, which, he'll regret that eventually because he'll become the head coach of the Knicks, and nobody can fix what ails the Knicks. Although, maybe Jay Wright could be the next head coach of the Knicks after Tom Thibodeau is done, since everybody had to play for Villanova. All right, before I let Rob Dauster go, and I appreciate your time, they just met in Utah, or they're currently meeting in Utah, Division I basketball, I guess, to discuss expanding the field. Would you have to change field of 68 to field of 72? In a way, it would make sense to just balance out the brackets by creating a play-in game at the 16 seed in all 4 regions and at the 11 seed in all 4 regions. But, man, it's hard enough to find 68 teams.
Yeah, look, I've never run into a situation in sports where literally every single person in the sport, that watches the sport, that consumes the sport, sits there and says, don't expand the tournament. It's a bad idea. We don't need more teams in the tournament. And the powers that be look at it and say, yeah, you know what, all you guys that watch this product, everyone that loves this sport the way it is, we're not going to listen to any of you. Like they don't need to make it bigger. They don't need to add more teams in. And one of the things that really gets me with this is there's the argument that there are now, there's 362 teams and 68 of them are in the tournament. And what the NCAA wants is like a minimum threshold of close to 25%
90
of the members of that base getting into the tournament, right? So like Ken Palm has made this point before. This is the most privileged it's ever been to make it to the NCAA tournament. There's just the fewest teams, which would make sense if all of like the 280 teams that aren't high major programs actually had a chance to get in that wasn't an automatic bid. Those are all one bid leagues. That's where all the Division I programs are getting added to, and none of them have a chance beyond getting in as the 1 seed. So now you have bigger and bigger conferences at the lower levels, right?
Yeah.
And those teams are all still competing for one bid. You're not making it more difficult to get in. You're making it so that more of these teams at the high major levels can have a chance to be able to. And now that we only have 5 high major programs out there, all of a sudden, what's going to happen? Like, are we going to get the 18th place team in the ACC being on the bubble because they just so happen to beat Duke at home but finish 6-14 in the ACC? Yeah, I understand why they're doing it. The NCAA is going to cede to the pressure of these conferences because they don't want these conferences to go off on their own because they understand they actually don't have any power. And the only way that they're going to be able to say it as an organization is to give the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 and these power conferences anything that they want because they are the ones that have all the power. So you don't want to leave the NCAA. You got to be able to give them what they want and be able to give them more spots in the tournament. But it's just dumb. I hate it. And I can't stand that all of these power conference commissioners think this is the way to go. Like, it's just the more I watch college sports, the more I realize that the people that make decisions aren't actually college sports fans.
Nope.
College sports fan hates everything that has happened over the course of like the last 10 years with this sport when it comes to realignment, when it comes to tournament expansion, when it comes to all this stuff. Like, they don't have – it feels like they need – you know what they need? They need someone that actually loves everything about college football in there instead of someone that's trying to create the NFL and the NBA junior. That's what they need.
I've been saying this for such a long time. It's pretty clear. They don't really love it. They love money and they love power more than they love these sports and these games, and that's unfortunate. But you love the game, and that's great. And I hope they don't go beyond 68 because all that letterhead, all of the literature at Field of 68 would have to change to Field of 70, whatever. And you also have Field of 12, and that might have to go up at some point anyway. Rob Dauster, at Rob Dauster, thank you so much, sir. We'll do it again.
Always a pleasure, man. Good catching up.
Rob Dauster, by the way, it is now official. Kawhi Leonard is out. And who would be perfect? Who would be perfect to replace Kawhi Leonard on the U.S. Olympic team?
Cooper Flagg.
It's not him.
No.
I'll tell you who it isn't and then who it will be. And we'll do one-timers next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Stop in today for a demo or visit us online at actce.com. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
Some call it overplanning. At Alternative Power, we call it foresight. Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Generac, it's not just a generator, it's a power move. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
If you or a loved one have been a victim of crime, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety Office of Victim Compensation Services provides programs to help you find peace of mind. They are here to help you apply for benefits that you may qualify for to recover from hardships such as lost wages and medical expenses. To learn more, visit ncdps.gov/4victims. That's ncdps.gov/4victims. Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, 2.5 million North Carolinians are members of an electric cooperative. Every day, this network of 26 electric co-ops is working together with local members like you to power a brighter future through innovative energy technologies, community support, and enhanced grid reliability. Learn more about our brighter future vision at ncelectriccooperatives.com. North Carolina's electric cooperatives, powering a brighter future.
You wouldn't ask your mechanic to help stage your property for an open house. As NC Realtors, we're experts who make buying or selling property easier for you. Using the latest technology and armed with local insights, our Realtors help you find properties you would want to call home. We also know which details make your property more attractive to other buyers. From start to finish, our Realtors know. Find out more at ncrealtorsknow.com.
Are you a veteran looking to make a career change? The Department of Labor is offering no-cost employment workshops to help you. Visit dol.gov, paid for by U.S. Department of Labor.
This is Adam Gold.
That answer fails on so many levels. Part of me wants to start the answer again and then stop it after each time. Is that a good idea, Victoria?
No.
That's great. Did you do that on purpose?
I did.
You did? At the end, that was brilliant.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Dennis Cox producing today. We're going to do one-timers in a second. Mentioned before the break, Kawhi Leonard officially out. USA Basketball with an injury. He will not participate in the Olympic Games, which starts at the end of this month, just a few weeks away, or a couple of weeks away from the start of the Olympic basketball tournament. It's a pretty good squad. I don't think this will damage the United States medal hopes. Before I tell you who the replacement is, wasn't this an opportunity to add Caitlin Clark?
Oh, right?
I mean, totally snubbed. There's an opening, kind of at guard. And what? No Caitlin Clark? Joke. She wasn't named to the U.S. soccer team either. Men's or women's.
They could have used her passing ability, that's for sure.
She would be, I think she would be a pretty dynamic midfielder, to be honest.
Probably.
Right? She can shoot from deep. She can shoot from outside the box. And a dynamite passer, all of that, but didn't work out. Anyway, Derek White, who I kind of casually mentioned earlier, ultimately is the replacement. I understand how does Jaylen Brown not make that team? But Jason Tatum did. The team was basically already set, and Derek White will probably play garbage minutes. So
they just need someone who can just defend on the perimeter. That's it.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, they don't really need anybody. They don't have to replace Kawhi Leonard. Like I said, it's not going to change the U.S.'s odds at winning a gold medal that Kawhi Leonard was not there. They seem to be pretty set.
I'll be the 12th man.
I thought you could have been.
Yeah.
I could have been. Honestly. Forget Cooper Flagg. Fanny Flagg could have been. You have no idea who that is.
No, I don't.
Okay. You shouldn't. Even though you have an old soul.
I kind of do.
You do. You have an old soul. Musically, you definitely have an old soul. Some of listeners my age will know who Fanny Flagg is.
Okay.
And I'm just not going to go into it. Anyway, I'll stop. Let's do one-timers. Q&A, definitive answers to probing questions.
Okay, we talked a little bit about Copa America, or we'll be talking a little bit Copa America and all that.
Fired up.
Argentina beat Canada yesterday 2-0 in the semifinals.
Yes.
By the way, props to Canada, far exceeding expectations.
They got out of the group.
Yeah.
They got out of the group. That's a win. It wouldn't have been a win for U.S. to get out of the group.
Yeah,
the U.S. had to get out of a group. They should have. The U.S. should have gotten out of the group, and to really make it a win, they needed to win a quarterfinal match, which wouldn't have been easy. But to me, par was getting out of the group. Canada made birdie.
I think they eagled.
They got to the semifinals.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Jamie Marsh is their head coach.
Jesse Marsh, yeah.
Jesse Marsh. My apologies.
Princeton
An American.
Guy. Princeton guy, yes.
An American. Does it rub it in the face a little more that an American coach leading our friends and our neighbors north of the border to the semis where a U.S. national team couldn't even get out of the group stage?
Is that the question that
That
I
is the
hijacked the
group
conversation?
stage.
My fault.
It's all good.
It doesn't. He did.
Yeah.
Jesse Marsh could have easily said in every interview that he's done, I really am not focusing on what Team USA is doing. We're trying to do the best we can here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, he belts out the Canadian national anthem during the lineups.
As he should.
Yes. But no, he is willing, very willing, to discuss. I don't know what's going on there, but man, yeah, we have high expectations. Like, wait, you're Canada's coach. I like Jesse Marsh. I'm not anti-Jesse Marsh. If it were up to me, I would have considered him over Berhalter, but I'm not entirely sure he's the guy that's going to lead the United States into the next era. But he rubs it in. It doesn't rub it in. That's the answer to that question.
All right, that's fair enough. All right, next one. We talked earlier about Martin Necas, and you said that he probably will be best served actually staying with the Carolina Hurricanes.
I think so, yes.
There are still questions about maybe who's that secondary scoring outside of like the top line of maybe Aho, Fetch, and Jarvis. Do we see a rookie in the opening night lineup to start the year for the Carolina Hurricanes? Is it a Felix Unger-Sorum? Is it a Bradley Nadeau? Do we see that in the opening night lineup today or this season?
I will personally, I say no.
Okay.
However, I think Rod Brindamore is going to use his 6 preseason games to play Nadeau, Unger-Sorum, Jackson Blake, all
Scott Morrow, yeah.
Well, yeah, Morrow's not
He'll
going to
be
make
in
the
the
team.
AHL, yeah.
Barring injury, Morrow will not. But they might be looking for another scorer. And they should be. And if you can get one of the rookies who can play at the NHL level now, yes. But I think that's a tough – not that it's going to be a tough lineup to crack. Somebody's going to have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he belongs, which means you're going to have a preseason like Seth Jarvis did a few years ago to demand that you belong on the team.
All right, final one here for you. We got 90 seconds left. Do the Canes make a trade of somebody before the start of the season? Does someone else get dealt? There's a backlog in the bottom 6.
Yeah, but I think almost all of those guys are organizational depth, and they will go through waivers and head to Charlotte. You need that anyway.
True.
And that's how the Hurricanes got Stefan Nason. He spent an entire year with the Chicago Wolves, scored 48 goals in the AHL the year before he came up to Carolina. They could, but I think it's not a trade from the bottom 6. I think if Carolina needs to clear space, the trade will come in the form of either Yevgeny Kuznetsov or some sort of transaction with Jesperi Kotkaniemi. That's where I think the move happens. I don't think the move happens with anybody significant in their in the upper part of the lineup other than those two. And there's no value. You don't gain anything by trading something out of your bottom 6. I think the transactions will come from those two players. And I don't think they're going to trade Necas. I think they're going to keep him. I think they hope to thrive. And if I'm Necas, I'm rebuilding my value right here. I did mention that we were going to clown Oklahoma State football coach Mike Gundy when we come back. He makes it so easy. We'll let you hear it next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller. Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary, the place where you can get a free mortgage. That's right, a free mortgage. Who gives free mortgages? Miller Lending does. Gordon invented the no-closing cost mortgage in 1987, brought it to the Triangle in 1996. He's been on Kildare Farm Road in Cary ever since. Closing costs add up, thousands of dollars, up to $5,000 really, if you think about it, give or take, and you don't have to pay them. Gordon figured that out a long time ago. Set that aside. Here's something else Gordon figured out a long time ago. Early detection for cancer is the number one weapon that we have in defeating this dreaded disease. So don't wait. Don't put it off. Don't say, I'm fine. I'm young. Get yourself checked out. Men, go to your doctor. Women, go to your doctor. Make sure that everything is okay. Don't put it off until tomorrow, next month, next year. Do it now. Miller Lending wants you to be alive so you can buy a house without paying closing costs. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
Move your sports day forward.
Players get gaslit in arbitration. You relive every turnover, every lost battle in the corner, every missed shot, because this is about getting paid. But it's also, on the team's end, about getting under the cap.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
New $80 million cash blowout and triple red sevens mean new winners. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds winning range from 1 in 4.28 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Where'd y'all go last week?
Well, we've been watching our budget.
So no going out?
Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's salt and lime brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharky's?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharky's is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharky's. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharky's. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the Mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
The other interesting storyline that you would have would be the Clemson Tigers, right?
Sure.
First time in a decade that they did not win 10 games in a season. A 4-4 conference record, something that is an anomaly when you look at much of Clemson football for the last 15 years. But they're all the way at the end of the week. You know, you got to get through a whole lot of SMU and Syracuse before you're going to get all the way to even Clemson and North Carolina and NC State there at the end of the week. So right there, that Monday, it is going to be Florida State, Florida State, Florida State, future of the ACC. Yep. Is Florida State a part of it?
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis and I were having this conversation during the break here. Is the show over? How long did we go?
I think we restarted it.
Hey, hi everybody. I'm Adam Gold. That's Dennis Cox. He's sitting in for Victoria today. You have a long day back in there.
I do. I got 6 straight hours of radio. 1 down, 5 more to go.
Seemed longer. All right. Hopefully it will not seem as long. Chip Patterson's going to join us in 15 minutes We'll talk more about Big 12 football, sort of. Just the braggadocious nature of Brett Yormark. Maybe we could power rank the 4 power conference commissioners. That would be fun for me and Chip coming up in a few minutes. I did mention I wanted to make fun of Mike Gundy, the head football coach at Oklahoma State, and he makes it so easy. So Big 12 Media Days starting yesterday, I guess, in Las Vegas. Brett Yormark talking about how great the conference is. And Oklahoma State has a player who is 20 years old and was cited for driving under the influence. I read the story today, and top running back in the Big 12, right, at 1,700 yards last year, preseason player of the year. The story of that night was a late model, the 2024 Cadillac. I don't know what model, what was it, an SUV? Was it a car? Who knows? Who cares?
Cadillac.
It's Cadillac, right? Fine. Look, NIL money goes right to you go get a car. That's fine. I have zero problem with it. But he was cited driving 82 and a 65 late at night, swerving, and when officers came over to the car, there were half-filled bottles of vodka and tequila. Driver smelled like alcohol. At the county jail, I think it was the Cleveland County Jail outside of Stillwater, he blew a .11 and a .10, both over the Oklahoma legal limit of .08. These are just the facts of the case as we know it. 20-year-old player. So, obviously, serious situation. Could have been worse. Was he not swerving? And again, I haven't seen any dash cam here, but I'm just reading the story. Were he not swerving, he might have gotten away with 82 and a 65. I think a lot of us have probably gotten away with 82 and a 65 before. Wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that you could get away with it, but not when you're swerving. Anyway, Mike Gundy is the head coach, and here are his thoughts on the Ollie Gordon, that's the name of the running back, his thoughts on the situation.
Well, Ollie's very fortunate that he was able to get out of that situation without anybody getting injured, getting hurt. When they called me the next day, I shared that with Ollie. First thing I said, did anybody get hurt? No. Well, you're lucky. You could have hurt somebody else, yourself, and then you deal with that the rest of your life. I have 3 boys, 29, 23, and 18, 19. We worry about that all the time. Ollie's going to play, and I share this with Ollie. I said, Ollie, we're in a time where you guys are essentially employees. You guys make lots of money to play this game. It's different than it was 5 years ago. Your punishment's going to be facing the facts. That's why we brought him here today. I said, you're not going into hiding. You're going to face the music. You're going to have to stand up and talk to people and answer questions. And hopefully, more than football, you can learn from the situation you've been in. Because if not, then we have a real issue. But he's going to play.
Okay. I'm on the record right now saying I don't really have a problem with anything that Mike Gundy just said there. I really don't. There are many people who think that Ollie Gordon should be suspended for whatever length of time. Some people think he should have his scholarship revoked. I am not in that group. Okay. The shame. First of all, let me just before we play the next Mike Gundy clip and where we're really going to jump in and clown that guy. We do not take DUI or DWI, anything, however, it's different in different states. We do not take that seriously enough. I don't know how many times I've said it. To me, it's not a traffic violation. It's a criminal. It's what happened is a crime because of the damage it could do, especially if somebody is in an accident. Look at the data. The number of people we lose to drunk driving. So, to me, as a country, we take this we treat this way too leniently. I don't even know if leniently is a word. Anyway, here's Mike Gundy when pressed about, I guess punishment phase or whatever. Here's where Mike Gundy goes completely off the rails.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma is .08, and Ollie was 0.1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. And I, it's just fine. So I got lucky. People get lucky. Ollie made a decision that he wished he could have done better. But when I talked to Ollie, I told him, I said, you're lucky you got out light because you make a lot of money to play football.
I looked it up on my phone, and the legal limit in Oklahoma is .08. It's like .08 almost everywhere.
It's pretty universal.
You didn't really need to look that up. There was something else he could have looked up, like what is the drinking age?
Well, there's that too.
Because Ollie Gordon's 20. Part of the citation he got from police was underage drinking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Probably don't have to look that up on your phone, which is maybe why he didn't throw it in. And then he goes in to basically admit that, 1,000 times in my life, I have been drunk driving and got away with it. What are we doing? How? That's the problem. And by the way, when he said, I'm not justifying what Ollie Gordon did, you just did by saying, well, everybody does it. That is one of the most irresponsible things you could ever have a coach say.
Mm-hmm.
I was blown away by the flippant nature that Mike Gundy, not blown away because it was him. I'm blown away that an adult was just like, I probably did that 1,000 times. Like, so wait a second. You are admitting that you are a serial drunk driver. You're just not, like, smashed drunk driving. I'm stunned that he hasn't yet, like, he's tried to clarify. And by the way, shame on the college football media who keeps retweeting the clarification. Like, no, we don't need a clarification there. I don't need you as the college football guy for whatever publication to tell me that, well, this is what Mike Gundy meant. No, Mike Gundy just admitted to drunk driving 1,000 times. We don't need to clarify that. I understood it. Mike Gundy doesn't have a problem with having 3 or 4 pops and getting behind the wheel of his car. Said he's done it about 1,000 times. He'll do it another 1,000 times. He doesn't have a problem with that. And if you tweet his clarification, you apparently don't have a problem with it either. Shameful. All of it is shameful. Sometimes it's better not to say anything. Mike Gundy was fine if he just says, I talked to Ollie. Ollie is here because this is part of the punishment to deal with the consequences in the public eye of what you did. Discipline we will handle internally. He is not going to be suspended from playing. We will handle discipline internally. I don't have to reveal that to you, but rest assured, we will handle the matter. Case closed. He doesn't have to go, well, I looked at my phone and I thought, wow, 3 to 4 beers based on body weight. I probably did that 1,000 times. Say less. Say less. Again, I come from a point where there's the way we as a society treat driving while intoxicated is the opposite of smart. The opposite of smart. Because to be honest, if you can afford the fine and the raise in your insurance rates, there's no deterrent.
Yeah, there's no real repercussion.
The only deterrent is, well, if you kill somebody or severely injure somebody, that's going to be a further financial penalty. And possibly it becomes criminal. But it's not criminal unless somebody gets hurt. So there really is no deterrent to prevent somebody from doing it.
Especially nowadays when we have ride shares. Like, call a Lyft, call an Uber.
Yeah. I mean, Uber or Lyft. I've never... Yeah. Lyft was too complicated for me to get in.
That's fair.
Right? And I don't know why, because I'm dumb. Uber was easier, but I don't really know... I mean, I'm not going to get into the... never mind. Chip Patterson going to join us on the other side. Get his thoughts on Mike Gundy. Get his thoughts really on Brett Yormark. And really the advantage that the Big 12 might have in terms of Yormark's bombast. And we'll talk some other college football matters with Chip Patterson next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the summer of soccer.
Federski for Capetti. It's stolen away by Hack. Hit the line by Gaines. A shot. He scores!
All the saves.
Polina with brilliant quick footwork across his 6-yard box to be able to recover and grab the strike from Kubo.
All the goals.
He just sends it back into the area for Swiderski. One touch. He scores!
The Triangle's home for Charlotte FC action. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loan, and personal loans. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff.
Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next?
Ballroom dancing.
I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Well, you've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of STP full synthetic oil with an STP extended life oil filter for just $29.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is Adam Gold.
It was crazy, too. After the first period, the shots on goal, the Maple Leafs goalie didn't even have to do anything most of the game.
Yeah, Joseph Wall was bored.
Yes.
In the first period.
He was knitting a sweater at one point. I mean,
lovely. A lovely sweater.
Making syrup. I mean, it was weird.
The Adam Gold Show.
Chip, no! Chip, don't do it!
But my friends call me Chip.
How am I supposed to chip with that going on, Doug?
Chip had the music blasting. We're not gonna take it.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Dennis Cox on the ones and twos today. What was that?
That's an old intro I made for our next guest
Oh, really?
years ago. Yep.
My gosh, that is fantastic. Our next guest used to have his own intro music. Of course, it was him singing, sort of, making music with his mouth, which I guess is singing. Chip Patterson.
Isn't that all singing is making music with your
Yeah,
mouth?
I mean, Bobby McFerrin did it better than probably anybody. Chip Patterson, CBSSports.com, Cover 3 podcast. My friend, it's Wednesday. Let's have some fun. I want to start with the bombast of Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12. So he declared the Big 12 in a better position than they have ever been. Doesn't seem accurate to me. And also declared his clearly as one of the top 3 conferences in America. Where shall we start?
Well, have you seen the video of some of these comments? Because it was incredible. Hold on. The man had a podium and he still felt like he needed to hold his papers right up here. And he was moving his hands like this for those of you who are watching along on YouTube or live. And he was saying, "We have the deepest and most competitive conference. Every game will matter. And I'll say it again." And those were his words. He said, "I'll say it again. We have the deepest and most competitive conference, and every game will matter." Now, I agree every game is going to matter. And I agree that the distance between the tiers of the Big 12 as a 16-team conference are tighter than the distance in tiers of any other power conference. And I agree that there is not a bottom group that outside of Arizona State, you really don't feel like you know who's going to sink to the bottom. That, as Brett Yormark is saying, the difference between bowl eligibility and spending some time on the couch at home is probably 2 touchdowns in October.
Right.
And that those stakes do make the Big 12 an incredible product to tune into, to follow, and to watch, to gamble on as well. I do think that Brett Yormark's position ignores the fact that of the 4 power conferences, the Big 12 is the least likely to have multiple teams in the 12-team college football playoff. And that the Big 12 conference, both in the eyes of the odds makers and other analysts, do not have a lot of schools that you can definitively say are competing at the highest levels of college football. But if we're going by you're the 3rd best conference and the rating score is on stability, yeah, you're the 3rd most stable conference. If your rating is on...
Well, who would be the other 2?
I mean, the SEC and the Big 10 would be 1 and 2.
What's,
Big 10.
What's more stable than the ACC right now?
The Big 12.
How?
Because the Big 12 doesn't have members actively suing the conference.
Oh yeah, but they're not leaving.
Stability rankings have to take into consideration multiple lawsuits and pending litigation as a threat to stability.
Okay, that's fair. They're not going anywhere, but that's fair. I'll allow it.
You want Do you want to throw a friendly wager on whether or not anybody's going anywhere?
What's our deadline? August 24, right?
2026. Does the 2026 season start with Florida State as an ACC member?
Yes.
I'll take no.
Really?
All right. Yeah.
So are they going to be an independent?
I'll take no. I introduced I introduced the stakes of the game.
Right.
Now we've got ourselves a friendly cold one on the line on if
it.
Florida State is going to be around for 2026.
If we ever play golf together again.
I would love to. I really would love to.
It's been a minute.
So, Brett Yormark also said some things that made my stomach churn, and it's not his bombast or his brazen attitude about it. The idea of being so open-minded for, private equity and capital, and, he stands so opposite on one spectrum for college sports, which is like history does not matter. Tradition does not matter. I'm not in charge of a conference. I'm in charge of a Fortune 500 company.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that matters is revenue. And the only thing that matters is growth. And it is the most in my opinion, the most disgusting and cynical approach to college sports.
Yeah, but he's telling the truth because that's what it's become.
That's true.
Right.
And it is on the exact opposite end of the spectrum of people who have their head in the sand and they're trying to cling to everything that doesn't exist anymore.
Just at the commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference. I actually said the same thing.
I am somewhere in between, personally. My own personal tastes are somewhere in between on those. I don't think you can have your head in the sand, but I think just plowing forward with only using words like revenue and growth are disgusting because you still have fans who care about it like they used to care about it. And
yes,
they are losers in all of this. So I'm looking out for the fans here while trying to be realistic enough about the current state of affairs, which, by the way, we're going to hear about, in other college sports leaders talk about all the things that are wrong and all the help that we need. Brett Yormark said, "This is great. We're in a great spot." He called it a, quote, necessary reset.
Well,
I just think it's interesting that he is positioning himself as this maverick where I'll tell you who doesn't need to position themselves as anything is Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, or Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner. They don't have to say anything because the machine promotes itself. They don't even have to be out in front like a carnival barker.
They don't, but they're all doing the same thing. And so while I don't like what I hear from Brett Yormark, what he is telling us is the way it is at college football. Forget about the other stuff. The other stuff is all unintended consequences of college football. But that's what the job is. The job is all about creating revenue, getting bigger, squashing the competition. That's all it is. It probably bothers Brett Yormark not a second that even though he didn't destroy the Pac-12, he ended it. Like the destruction of the Pac-12 happened when
it starts in Colorado.
Well, it started when Southern Cal and UCLA left.
I think that they could have. I think they could have held that thing together if all the presidents didn't get so jumpy when the Big 12 floated a $2.5 million signing bonus across the table at Colorado and eventually was able to just leave the light on for the other three members of the Pac-12 that they ended up getting from the corner four.
But if Southern Cal and UCLA don't leave, then Oregon and Washington stay, and that league is still together.
If the presidents say yes to the deal that was on the table, they've got a similar contract to the Big 12 and a contract that pays them more than the ACC contract.
The Pac-12, really?
Yeah, the Pac-12 had a deal on the table and the presidents wanted more.
Was that Kliavkov giving them bad advice?
That was university presidents who thought more highly of their position in the marketplace.
Poor decision making, even without Southern Cal and UCLA. This is why we talked to Chip Patterson here. But the other conversation we're having, because there's so many little offshoots of it. there's the reality of what college football has become, and there's the idealism of what a lot of people, I think including you and I, wish it would have still stayed, because we could have still paid players or allowed players to earn money if there were forward-thinking people at the NCAA level and at the university level 10 years ago. And we might have been able to head all of this off if we simply allowed players their value in the marketplace 10 years ago, when we started to hear people talking about this on a more regular basis. But now it's just about a money grab, and maybe this is always where we're going to head anyway once teams started leaving conferences to go to another conference because the financial stakes were higher and better and there was more stability at other leagues. Maybe this is always where we were going to get, but it right now is it's only big business. And we can clown Brett Yormark, who's easy to clown, but he's at the one end of the spectrum, and Jim Phillips is at the other, right? We're not going to hear any bombast from Jim Phillips other than to tout all of the ACC's academic All-Americans, which is awesome, but you don't get paid for that. And really all it's about is creating revenue. Like the Totino's Big 12 Media Day. Did that make you laugh as much as it made me laugh?
Look, it's a great partner. It's a great partner for the Big 12.
I'm not knocking it. I'm praising it. I am absolutely praising it.
Yeah, we need the Hardee's ACC Media Day, brought to you by, or the Bojangles ACC football kickoff live from Charlotte. We need we need to have a fight sponsor for Monday when we've got Commissioner Phillips and Florida State all taking the podium within the same little window of time. No DJU, sadly, but yeah, it's an odd position. Big 12 was always going to get talked about more because they were going first.
Right.
The Big 12 holds its media days in the middle of the SEC media days or in the middle of the Big 10 media days. This doesn't reverberate like it does. It's another brazen position, but one that has everybody in the news cycle talking about the Big 12. Right. And certainly that's more than you can say if the conversation was just about the on-field product.
So next week is the SEC, right?
Correct.
And then the following week, we're in Charlotte for the ACC.
I'll be in Indianapolis for the Big 10.
Oh, you're not even coming to see me in Charlotte?
The Cover 3 podcast is live on CBS Sports Network at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, giving you coverage of Big 10 Media Days. Lots of special guests coming to drop by the desk to hang out with the four of us. So we're excited to take Cover 3 on the road for the first time as a whole group. So I'm very, very sad I'll be missing out on the festivities of the ACC. But again, the scheduling situation, the ACC is running head-to-head with a Big 10 Media Days that includes Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA. There's a lot to talk about there as well.
There is, and the fact that Southern Cal, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington are entering that league just gives them more than, I'm going to say it, more than two high-profile universities. Penn State's played great football for a long time, but they are, by nature, a low-profile school with great football pedigree. They had two big dogs until they introduced these four programs, and I shouldn't even say four because UCLA in football is not a big dog. They just live in a big city. But right. Southern Cal, Oregon, and Washington are big players. And so the Big Ten got significantly deeper toward the top. But, I mean, I think the ACC is going to have way more interesting storylines. I'm not knocking the decision I get with the affiliation with CBS and the Big Ten. That's where you go. But I think the ACC will have so much more juice, even though Jim Phillips is going to downplay everything and tell us that everything is all right, even though Chip Patterson just told us that Florida State's going to be out of the league by 2026.
Oh, no, this is just a friendly wager. Hey, look, I get a lot of friendly wagers wrong. I get unfriendly wagers wrong,
Right.
I mean, we're just out here just floating between 60 and 40. Everyone just rides the wave on that one. Bankroll management, baby. That's all we're talking about.
What I am curious, because I agree with you. I'm not into private equity and college sports. I think it opens your door for a lot of trouble if you are bringing in private equity. But there are investments that, essentially these become donations to keep your business running. I'm sure that there's definitely a return to keep your business running. If the Big 12 were to come up with, a few $100 million of private equity money, they could make it worth Florida State's while to, hey, screw the ACC. We'll essentially reimburse you the money it's going to cost to leave, and you could play here. But that doesn't really get Florida State to where they want to be, which is equal with the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah, I think the Big 12's expansion of revenue also took an interesting turn when Brett Yormark mentioned unbundling football and basketball and selling them separately. I thought that was...
Yeah, because their contract comes up sooner.
30, yeah.
Yeah.
That's forever, in terms of let's see. That would be like in 2018. How the world was different in 2018 compared to where it is now. But yeah, their television contract comes up. If he decides to unbundle it, where on one side you're selling, your Kansas and your Arizona powered basketball set, and maybe you're really splitting it up between multiple revenue partners to be able to drive up the price, and multiple media partners to drive up the revenue. It was an interesting thought in terms of ways that you can get creative with that. It's something the Big 12 can do because it already is split between ESPN and Fox.
Right.
They already sort of exist in that area. It's something that is not as much of an option for the ACC or the SEC, who are entirely in bed with one media rights partner. And so it's something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on from the idea of, what does this all look like moving forward? It also probably hints to the great unbundling of college football altogether. That if we do like an entire breakaway, that's the old Chip Kelly proposal, right?
That's what I think is going to happen, and I think it's going to happen before we have another cosmic shift in conference affiliation.
Like 40, in that proposal, 40 to 48 college football programs break away and form their own semi-professional league.
Mm-hmm.
We get to redraw the divisions to make them more regionally specific. It would have to lead to an agreement between the power conferences to give up some power or create new payouts. But that is a potential end game that we've been talking about for a couple years now. Probably since USC and UCLA or Texas and Oklahoma first made those announcements. Mm-hmm. And when I hear Brett Yormark sort of having the foresight of, and we might, unbundle the way that we do our media rights based on sports, that certainly hints to that being a reality.
Yeah, look, I don't think anybody really has a good idea of what college sports is going to look like 5 years from now.
I always say we're in the no bad ideas portion of this. It also means there's no good ones either.
Yeah, look, every idea we could have that would make sense on one level would make no sense on another level. I've been saying for a long time, I think that as I've become more of a fan of international football, right? Soccer, regardless of what league we're talking about, the fan bases of those particular clubs are almost identical to fan bases of major U.S. universities. Like NC State fans, to me, I'm just using them as an example. It's not specific to NC State. But NC State fans, to me, are, no different than fans of Arsenal. This is my club. I am a fan of them. Whoever comes in for the 3 years that they're there, I'm a fan of them. Then they go off. Maybe I pay attention, but for the most part, they're out of sight, out of mind. I got new players. It's the same thing. And it's more about community than it is about anything else. So I just think that some form of promotion and relegation within major U.S. sports somehow makes sense, but I just don't know how you pull that off without poking thousands and thousands of holes in it. But that's what I've always thought that that's somewhere where we're headed, but I don't know how you do that and get. I mean, it's just flat out pro sports at that point.
Yeah, it's ultimately this will be decided by the Big Ten and the SEC,
right?
Who already have the voting power and the financial benefits of leading the charge of the new college football playoff. And man, if they'd agreed to that college football playoff expansion a couple years ago.
Yeah, the alliance didn't help, right?
The holistic review,
yeah.
The 12-month holistic review.
And that was just being bitter. That was just being angry at the addition of Texas and Oklahoma.
That did not include the same kind of tiered revenue vision that we have now, in which the Big 12 and the ACC declared themselves as not in the same class as the Big 10 and the SEC. So now they get to craft the future, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I'm sad that I'm going to miss you in Charlotte in 2 weeks.
I'm very sad too, because I think I could have really, I could have really done a pretty good job of the middle 2 days. I'm being serious. Anybody can show up to day 1 when you've got the commissioner in Florida State.
Right.
And anybody can show up to day 4 when you've got Clemson, North Carolina, NC State. It takes real champions to be able to get the storylines and sell the storylines of day 2 and day 3 of what has now grown into a 4-day event for the ACC football kickoff. And I'm being very, very serious. There's no tongue, no cheek.
Right.
I could have crushed it with that opportunity. So I hope that you do, and I'm sure we'll be in contact throughout.
Just a point of reference, because I'm out next Wednesday. It's going to be, I'm not going to talk to you for 3 weeks. There's a hole inside of me right now, Chip Patterson.
So are you going to be gone? I guess we'll talk about Open Championship.
Well, we're going to have to figure that out. Who you got? You might as well tell me now, because I'm not going to be here next week.
Oh, no.
No. Wait. We'll reschedule. Maybe we could do Tuesday next week.
I'm just thinking at the Scottish. I got my eyes on Hideki to get things back in line. Minwoo Lee's got a little bit of interesting angles. I think we'll get, Christian Bezadenhout back in the top 20. I'm just sort of like, tweaking the screws. I'm not sure who's going to win at the Renaissance there
in Aberdeen. We're going to have to talk next week somehow. I have to let you go. Chip Patterson, CBSSports.com, Cover 3 podcast, that Chip_Patterson, the best there is. Thanks, man.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
So, yeah, I'm going to tear up. I can't go 2 weeks without talking to Chip. I can't. I'm just going to call him randomly. Maybe I'll just text him from the flight. I'll buy the Wi-Fi and text him from the flight.
You know what you should do if you buy the Wi-Fi? Link up with the show.
Is the Wi-Fi good enough on a plane to do that? Nah, no way.
I don't know.
No way. First of all,
I say try it.
Am I the only one who can never get on their Wi-Fi?
No, it's worthless.
Like, wait a second. I'm willing to buy it. It's not that much, like, what, $8, right, for the flight? Something silly like that.
It's worth it?
But I can't get on. So if I got a 4-hour flight to Denver next week, so I don't know.
Download 2 movies, you're good.
I'm going to sleep.
There you go.
I'm going to sleep on the try. I'll try to sleep anywhere. I'll play Sudoku for 4 hours.
You do a whole book of Sudoku in 4 hours.
I'm not bad. We go expert. at Sudoku.
Yeah, okay, 5-star level here.
You have to guess every once in a while, but I can usually complete a Sudoku. All right. When we come back, wagers will be placed. Stretching will be done. Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And even as the playoffs wind down in basketball and hockey, there's still stuff worth wagering on if you are so inclined. And FanDuel wants to give you incentive to just keep a little skin in the game. Open up the app and enjoy all summer long. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There is something for everyone every day all summer long. Go to FanDuel.com/AGS, FanDuel.com/AGS, and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Must be 21 or older and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Avant Articulated Loaders for the right equipment to help get your work done. Avant makes the most multifunctional loaders in the world. Whether you're a landscaping pro or homeowner serious about property maintenance, you need an Avant loader. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized Avant dealer for sales, service, part, and rentals. Visit one of our 7 locations or actce.com for more details about Avant Articulated Loaders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
If you or a loved one have been a victim of crime, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety Office of Victim Compensation Services provides programs to help you find peace of mind. They are here to help you apply for benefits that you may qualify for to recover from hardships such as lost wages and medical expenses. To learn more, visit ncdps.gov/4victims. That's ncdps.gov/4victims.
Turning 65 soon, navigating Medicare can be overwhelming and confusing, but you're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help. SHIP counselors can help you understand Medicare benefits to make your best choices. Visit ncship.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, 2.5 million North Carolinians are members of an electric cooperative. Every day, this network of 26 electric co-ops is working together with local members like you to power a brighter future through innovative energy technologies, community support, and enhanced grid reliability. Learn more about our brighter future vision at ncelectriccooperatives.com. North Carolina's electric cooperatives, powering a brighter future.
This is Adam Gold.
He takes the hat. It was like somebody who works there, was wearing a baseball cap. Takes it off the kid's head and puts it on the hostess station. Just takes the hat off this guy and puts it down.
Excuse you?
Like that's exactly what I would. I'm like, excuse me?
Right.
What are you doing?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Dennis Cox on the ones and twos today. We're going to place bets in just a little bit. I will tell you right now, Rory McIlroy spoke to the media today. We'll let you hear a little bit of that in Wall of Sound. And I know we're going to talk more about it tomorrow. Shane Ryan's going to join us from Golf Digest. And then from PGA Tour Radio on Friday, we're going to talk to Taylor Zarzer. We talked to Bob Harrig yesterday. Keegan Bradley was named Ryder Cup captain. Shockingly enough, they didn't interview Keegan Bradley.
Oh, okay. Hey, you're captain. Oh, who, me?
That's kind of how it went down. That doesn't mean they have chosen poorly, but the process by which they arrived at Keegan Bradley as the captain of the Ryder Cup team at age 38.
We have questions.
When he desperately wants to be on the team, the process definitely flawed. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Anyway, it's time to stretch.
All right, so first things first here. I'm gonna do a little sports tie-in here for seventh inning stretch.
I like it.
Here. First things first. So yesterday we had Copa America first semifinal. Argentina wins 2-0 over Canada.
Yes.
Have you heard of the hip hop artist Drake? I'm sure you have.
My son told me about this yesterday in the morning.
The Drake curse continues.
Right.
So Drake actually yesterday posted how he placed a $300,000 bet.
He is Canadian.
He is Canadian. He's from the Toronto area. On Canada to beat Argentina.
Yeah.
Let's just say it backfired. Now Drake has been in a public beef with fellow hip-hop artist Kendrick Lamar.
Did Lamar bet on Argentina?
Well, no. Argentina plays into this, and Kendrick Lamar. The two have been going at it in rap battles on different songs and going back and forth for a little while, and Argentina actually responded back by posting a photo of after their win against Canada on social media using a title of Kendrick Lamar's song, Not Like Us, which is the title of the diss track released back in May by Kendrick Lamar, which criticized Drake.
Yes, I saw that. I didn't realize what that meant, but I saw that.
That's what it was. It was a dig at Drake, which is like, you know what? Well done. Well done, Argentina, in that regard.
Well, first of all,
well done.
Can I just push back a little bit on it being a curse? That would sort of intimate that Canada had a chance.
Oh, I've got more. There's history here.
Drake did not curse Canada.
Oh.
Argentina.
He did.
Took it easy on Canada.
Back in 2019, Drake shows up, college football playoff, title game, Alabama, Clemson. He's shown actually like pumping up Alabama pregame.
Yeah.
They get smacked 44-16.
Right.
Because he jumped on the bandwagon. To tie in, because I'm sitting in for Victoria, I'll tie it into with the UFC. UFC 293. He was all in on middleweight champion at the time, Israel Adesanya.
Right.
All in. Lost to Sean Strickland in a major upset. And then at UFC 297, he's like, hey, Sean Strickland's my guy. Who then loses in that fight as well and loses his middleweight title. Heck, even tie it in here locally to the state of North Carolina. 2022, App State football gets the big win on the road over Texas A&M. College Game Day shows up. They had that big win against Troy. Before you know it, we see Drake rocking an App State t-shirt. Season kind of slides from there. They finish 6-6 and don't make a bowl game. The Drake curse is real.
Right, but it wasn't last night.
That was 100%. He even had the Oilers beating the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, well.
Did not work either. Just saying, Drake curse, it's there.
Yeah,
the only time it wasn't a curse was when the Raptors won the NBA title. That's it.
That might be the best one he's had, though.
That's it.
Go Canada. Fantastic.
All right, next one that I have here actually is I know Victoria does like to do some dumb criminals.
We love dumb
criminals. Of course, this one takes place in Florida.
There's not a lot of smart ones. I mean, not everybody's Ocean's 11.
No, it's not. This one takes place in Florida. This actually happened several weeks ago, but a Florida couple was arrested for making fake winning lottery tickets. That's right, fake winning lottery ticket, and actually in hopes of tricking officials into handing them $1 million prize. That's right, Kira Enders and her boyfriend Dakota Jones allegedly attempted to trick lottery officials into giving them a $1 million prize with 2 torn scratch-off tickets spliced together to form a winning ticket, according to authorities.
Okay.
That's what they tried to do.
Yeah, well, didn't work, did it?
No, it did not.
Did not work.
No, they were arrested, understandably so.
It's the most you've won in a scratch-off.
Scratch-off ticket, $100.
Really?
Yeah.
My gosh, I'd if I won $100, I might play scratch-off for the next month.
You probably could. Just a bunch of $1
I think the most
ones?
we've won is 10.
Okay. I think it was like a $20 scratcher, though.
Yeah, I think
which generally have higher payouts.
And generally, the only time we ever do it, honestly, we throw them into like Christmas stockings.
Oh, yeah, they're a great stocking stuffer.
There you go.
Great stocking stuffer. Final thing, real fast. You remember the movie Gladiator, right? Russell Crowe.
Yes.
Gladiator 2 released a trailer yesterday.
Oh, no.
Gladiator 2. That's right, the sequel to the original movie. They dropped a trailer to that yesterday. I have not watched the trailer because I know I'm going to see the movie and I don't want anything ruined.
Okay.
But it stars Pedro Pascal, Denzel Washington.
Denzel's in it. There's a Shrek 5 coming out.
There is a Shrek 5. There's another
I saw
Toy Story 5 that's coming out.
How do we do Toy Story 5 after Toy Story 4? We're just going to Adam and Eve?
Does Andy have kids and he gets his old toys back? Are we going that level?
I don't get it. We're going to Priscilla's for Toy Story 5.
Yeah, might have to.
I apologize for that. It's time to place bets, isn't it?
If I can find the button, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Somebody's out of practice. Somebody's out of practice. I don't know where they are, so I could not do the show.
There it is.
I could not do the show on my own.
Gambling
No
is
chance.
illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide. Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right. I wish I would have done Canada 2-0 win over, or rather Argentina 2-0 win over Canada yesterday because it hit at plus 490. But if people are paying attention, we've been pretty good with the soccer. We've been pretty good.
Okay.
European Championship, Copa America, and I'm in a no-lose situation, by the way, with Copa America right now, with my existing tickets, because I have a winning ticket on Colombia and a ticket for a Colombia-Argentina final and a Colombia-Uruguay final. So I'm winning either way what happens tonight between Colombia and Uruguay in Charlotte. We're going to talk about that, by the way, with Will Palaszczuk coming up. Right. But if Colombia beats Argentina in the final, lunch is on me. All right, so...
all right, deal.
Where you go?
I'm actually going to go Uruguay-Colombia and actually give me Colombia money line plus 210.
Yeah, they are favorites. Here's the problem. I think, and we'll talk about this with Will Palaszczuk in about 20 minutes. I think it's going to be a bit of a rock fight. I actually see this not only... I hope Colombia advances. But I see this as a draw, and I see this as 1-1. You want to get specific? 1-1 is plus 500. Draw, which gets us into extra time and penalties, plus 170. It's actually the favorite. The draw is the favorite.
Yeah.
Very slight favorite. Draw, 170. Uruguay plus 175. Colombia plus. I have 215 on FanDuel. You go.
All right, next one I'm actually going to go to Euro 2024, semifinal between Netherlands and England. Give me a full-time draw, plus 175.
All right, the Olympics
so
are...
we're getting added extra time.
Sure. The Olympics are right around the corner, just a couple of weeks away from the start of the Olympic Games. By the way, have you seen the U.S. uniforms?
I have not.
Right. Very, very casual.
Very red, white, and blue?
It's just I don't know. Whatever. There's like jeans on the way out, like boat wear on the way in. They almost look like they're Halloween costumes.
Okay.
Probably not good. Is the United States going to win the most medals, most gold medals? Probably. Let's go to most medals, and let's go off the board with not the United States. Most medals, China, plus 1,100. China plus 1,100 most medals.
Okay.
I'll give you that right now. The U.S. is minus 1,100, by the way.
All right, then. L.A. Dodgers on the road at the Philadelphia Phillies. Give me the Dodgers plus 120 on the money line.
All right, well, Dodgers lost to the Phillies last night. I have no baseball bets, and I'm done wagering. I've given you all of the help I can. I already told you what to do with Copa America anyway. All right, when we come back, Wall of Sound, you'll hear from Rory McIlroy next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friend Dr. Lori Travers at Travers LASIK with my life goal to make your life easier, better, more efficient. Tell that to my wife all the time. If you are a contact lens or glasses wearer, I'm going to help you out. Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK, the only LASIK specialist in the Triangle and the best way to make your life easier. 919-510-6830, TraversLASIK.com. Get rid of the time, the hassle, the potential issues, allergies, dust, etc. that come along with wearing contacts, not to mention getting rid of the cost. That's right, the cost. Dr. Lori brought me back to 20/20 vision in about 10 minutes. Totally painless. Back to work the next day. We're going to give you $1,000 off, and 2 years, 0 interest financing is available. TraversLASIK.com. You can set it up there, and the consultation is free. 919-510-6830 for Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard. You look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
The wait is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
New $80 million cash blowout and triple red sevens mean new winners. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds winning range from 1-in-4.28 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help, 1-800-222-1222.
Wait, she's posting pics with a dude in Mexico. We just broke up.
If Heineken Silver was a doom-scrolling ex-boyfriend, it would have all the feels. None of the new boyfriend jealousy.
She looks happy. I'm gonna message her. Hey, Stace, loved the super cute post with @RadRyan7. Enjoy Mexico and that ceviche spot from last year. Send pics.
Heineken Silver, world-class light beer. Only 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Anthony Edwards is the best player on Team USA. How many players on Team USA are better than Anthony Edwards definitively? I don't know that there is one. What we can't do is say definitively that there is a player better than him. That's what we can't do. Like, that's the part we can't go to. Like, I think it's disrespectful to what Anthony Edwards has shown us, especially this postseason, in terms of how he's elevated his play and his profile.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Dennis Cox producing the program today. Victoria is on assignment. Well, he was making great sense. That was Chris Canty from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio until he talked about how he elevated his play in the postseason. No offense, Anthony Edwards, the first part of that was true. He probably is the best player on Team USA. And he was very, I think he was joking when he said, I'm the number one option. He might be the number one option. Anthony Edwards said that earlier this week. But Anthony Edwards struggled in the playoffs, especially against Dallas. He was not the same player. He did not have the success early in the playoffs. He was awesome. But he struggled in the conference finals. Like, there's no way to get around that. So he certainly, I mean, Minnesota was better than anybody gave them credit. But yeah, if that was entirely true, we would have seen a Boston-Minnesota NBA Finals, and we did not. However, the larger point is true, and that Anthony Edwards likely is the best player on Team USA because of his youth, his defensive ability, his willingness to do everything that it takes. I think he's gonna play a ton of minutes, and he's essentially going to be what, even though I don't know that their games are similar, he's going to be what Kobe was to that, you know,
the redeemed team.
I guess that's what you call it, right?
Yeah.
To that, he's going to be that guy for Team USA. He might not score the most points, right? Kevin Durant was made for Olympic basketball, made for it. So we'll see. But I mean, the second part of that, I wish that were true, because then we would have seen Minnesota in the NBA Finals as opposed to Dallas. All right, lots to do here in the Wall of Sound. If we have time, you'll hear from Rory McIlroy. But we are going to go right to Vegas here in the Wall of Sound.
Is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
So Oklahoma State has a running back named Ollie Gordon. Actually, it's Ollie Gordon II. He was the he was the leading rusher in the Big 12 a year ago. He is the preseason player of the year as selected by the media in the Big 12. And he was just arrested on driving under the influence. Fairly serious story if you read it. Swerving 82 and a 65 in his car, in a Cadillac, 2024 Cadillac. I mean, great ride. Don't go 82. Don't get pulled over for swerving, and don't have half-filled bottles of vodka and tequila in the car with you after drinking, because the officers can detect that. Anyway, he blew a .11. His head coach, Mike Gundy, on the situation.
Well, Ollie's very fortunate that he was able to get out of that situation without anybody getting injured, getting hurt. When they called me the next day, I shared that with Ollie. First thing I said, would anybody get hurt? No. Well, you're lucky. You could have hurt somebody else, yourself, and then you deal with that the rest of your life. I have 3 boys, 29, 23, and 18, 19. We worry about that all the time. Ollie's going to play, and I share this with Ollie. I said, Ollie, we're in a time where you guys are essentially employees. You guys make lots of money to play this game. It's different than it was 5 years ago. Your punishment's going to be facing the facts. That's why we brought him here today. I said, you're not going into hiding. You're going to face the music. You're going to have to stand up and talk to people and answer questions. And hopefully, more than football, you can learn from the situation you've been in. Because if not, then we have a real issue. But he's going to play.
Generally, that was the best you're ever going to get from Mike Gundy. Generally speaking, the way he handled that, I have zero problem with. I don't have any problem with him not being punished. The punishment has to be the public humiliation of something that you just did like that, right? And if that were all Mike Gundy would have said, that would have been great. Sadly, it was not, and here's more from Mike Gundy.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma is .08, in Ollie was 0.1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. And I, it's just fine. So I got lucky. People get lucky. Ollie made a decision that he wished he could have done better. But when I talked to Ollie, I told him, I said, you're lucky you got out light because you make a lot of money to play football.
All right. So that actually happened before. The good stuff came after. And maybe he realized that, boy, did I just say that I drink and drive all the time? Because that's what he did. I might have done that 1,000 times. Like, wait a second. So we have a serial drunk driver as the head coach, by his own admission, as the head coach of Oklahoma State. And by the way, for accuracy's sake, the breathalyzer, the blood alcohol test he did, happened at the jail. So I think it's fair to assume that maybe an hour took place between the time that he was arrested and the time he took the blood alcohol test. And the first test was 0.11. The second test was 0.10. Fair to assume that it was maybe a little bit higher at the point of arrest.
Yeah.
Right?
By the time he actually was pulled over, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I'm not saying that it was significantly higher. I'm not smart enough to know what the difference might be, but it was probably higher than 0.11. But Mike Gundy is cool with that because I do it all the time. He said, I don't justify it. Yeah, you did. You absolutely justified it. Mike Gundy, the gift that keeps on giving. Sad part, just a sad story for everybody. Very fortunate nobody got hurt. All right, the man is back. Rory McIlroy has returned to professional golf. The last we saw of Rory, he was peeling out of the Pinehurst Players parking lot and racing up to the airport. I don't think he had to race to Raleigh. He probably flew privately, so he was going to a private airstrip in Moore County. But that's the last we saw of Rory. He did not speak to the media after blowing a 2-shot lead with 5 holes to play and losing another major championship. And now he is back at the Scottish Open and reflecting on, a month of Sundays ago.
I can, vividly remember starting to feel a little uncomfortable waiting for my second putt on 16. And, the putt on the last was it was a really tricky putt. And I was very aware of where Bryson was off the tee. So I knew I had to hit it really soft. If the one back didn't matter, I would have hit it firmer and it would have been, but because I was sort of in two minds, I didn't know whether Bryson was going to make a par or not. It was one of those ones where I just had to make sure that if the putt didn't go in, that it wasn't going 10 feet by, which it very easily could have. So, thinking back, I was probably maybe a little too aware of where Bryson was and what he was doing.
All right, there's a lot there. First of all, I didn't watch all of Rory's press conference, but it hasn't been reported that Rory essentially apologizes for flaking out and not being available for any media at the U.S. Open.
He cowered out.
I'm not going to argue that that's... I think it's understandable what he did, but it was wrong what he did. He should have hung around and answered, even if it's 4 questions. You do it. I feel crappy. Good on Bryson, all of that. He released a statement, but that doesn't work. So bad form on Rory's part to not be available for anything post-round, especially since he was the story. As much as I do like what Bryson did, and he was great, and he was probably the best player all week anyway. Rory McIlroy lost that U.S. Open more than Bryson won it. Bryson's shot on 18 from the bunker, though, was spectacular. Incredible. There's nothing harder than a long bunker shot like that. Nothing. And he executed it perfectly. As he probably, if you gave him 50 balls, he probably doesn't hit one better than that. And at the moment, I mean, full marks to that. But that was a tournament that Rory McIlroy should have won. Set that aside. So now he's back, and he gave us some insight onto maybe why he didn't win it today. And if you even just listen to the full audio bite there, Rory became hypersensitive to everything that was going on around him. And if there's one thing we know about high-level, high-stakes pro golf, is that for the most part, these guys just want to stay tunnel vision focused on what they're doing. Not that you don't want to be aware of where you stand among the score, but Rory was aware of what was going on around him, and that cannot help somebody who is trying to win his first major in 10 years. And it got to him. It got to him that he had to wait to attempt the 2.5-foot putt on 16, which was the first putt inside of 3 feet that Rory McIlroy has missed this year. That's right. The first one inside 3 feet he has missed all season. That was, right? And, like, he had to wait for Bryson to do this. I had to wait for Bryson to do that. I knew that Bryson was in trouble off the 18th tee. I wasn't sure he was going to make par, so I had to treat my putt differently. All of these things that Rory was hyper aware of, I think contributed to him blowing the lead and losing the U.S. Open. So I don't know if that's been rectified, but I'm still picking him to win the Open Championship because I have a problem.
You're too emotionally
It's
invested.
my problem.
You're too emotionally invested into this, Adam.
Here's the thing, real quick at the U.S. Open. Because I think it's fun to bet on major championship golf.
Sure.
Right? The only player, really, on that leaderboard at the end, right, other than Patrick Cantlay, the only player that I did not have a ticket on was Rory. I had zero money on Rory McIlroy. I had a ticket on Bryson DeChambeau, Tony Finau, Ludwig Åberg, Corey Connors. I had like 6 tickets out on all players that had chances to either win or finish in the top 10. Not Rory. And I was rooting for Rory. I rooted against my own financial interests. I was rooting for Rory.
And did you get anything out of it?
Yeah, and I had Bryson top 5. I had Tony Finau top 10.
Okay.
I had Corey Connors top.
So you did all right.
Oh, I did fine.
Oh, yeah.
But I was rooting against me.
That's fair.
Also, it's Scotty Scheffler.
I think a lot of people lost out on that one.
Scotty Scheffler. What a shame. All right, Will Palaszczuk's going to join us when we come back. The voice of Charlotte FC. If the United States had done what Canada did and reached the semifinals of Copa America, the U.S. would have been playing tonight at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Imagine getting one game, one match of Copa America, and it's a semifinal. They get Uruguay and Colombia tonight. We'll talk to Willie about that next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard. You look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my man, Coach Pete Deruta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. He is the retirement planning expert. He's got more than 30 years in the arena. And if you want to plan for your retirement the right way, you go to the expert. And that's what Coach Pete Deruta is. He's got multiple best-selling books on retirement planning, national TV radio shows. His setup in Apex is top drawer. And if you want to retire on your terms, you want to give the Heisman to the man, to the boss, when you're ready to retire, you go to Coach Pete Deruta. All you got to do is call or text, and we're going to get you free stuff. 888-843-0013. I'm not kidding. 888-843-0013 or text Adam, that's my name, to 600-700, and we're going to get you a total customized retirement plan for you, customized for your needs, financial and otherwise, for free. It's a $1,000 value for somebody else. Plan for your retirement the right way with Coach Pete Deruta. Local. They're in Apex. Capital Financial Advisory Group. 888-843-0013. Call today.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Coming to PNC Arena July 27th and 28th. Brought to you by BKT Tires and Gray Clips. Visit monsterjam.com today.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
This is Adam Gold.
North Carolinians wagered $659,308,541 on sports.
It's a little bit.
Treat it as entertainment only. Just look at it as fun.
The Adam Gold Show.
So if I were better at my job, I would have 2 clips ready to go. The first clip would be Will Palaszczuk, the voice of Charlotte FC, as well as Man About Town in the city of Charlotte, Hornets, Panthers, everything. When he said 4 weeks ago, that Colombia would win Copa America. I took his advice, by the way. I have a ticket on Colombia. And the other thing is that I would have yesterday's Place Your Bets, where I predicted Argentina 2-0 over Canada at plus 490. But I don't have any of that. But I do have Will Palaszczuk, the voice of Charlotte FC, at Willie P. Style on Twitter. You were on Colombia from the beginning, and it sucks that the U.S. men's national team didn't perform because they would have been playing the only Copa America match in Charlotte tonight if they were lucky enough to get this far. How are you, man?
I'm good, Adam. It is unfortunate that we're not talking about a potential coronation for Greg Berhalter and a potential matchup against Lionel Messi in the final, but as things go, maybe it's a good thing in the long term for the United States, because maybe that's what we needed to have in order to try and realize that, hey, maybe he's not the right man for 2026, but that also is something that for a lot of people, an announcement that hasn't come yet as of this recording.
All right, I want to dig down on the Berhalter thing with you in a second, but give me an idea of what it's like in Charlotte right now. This is a big match. I mean, Uruguay and Colombia, which as a Liverpool fan, I'm looking at this as an inter-squad game between Darwin Nunez and Luis Diaz. Tell me what it's like in Charlotte in advance of this, because all of these games have been super well attended. I would imagine tonight's not going to be too different.
So I actually just came from Uptown earlier this morning and came back to my office to take care of some things here a little bit before I go back up there to do our broadcast from the WFNZ Doghouse. And it's already popping. There's a lot of yellow shirts already out there. I would say Colombia is probably going to be the more attended of the two fan bases, and I think you've kind of seen that over the course of this tournament. But this is the biggest soccer match in the history of the city of Charlotte, and I think even in the state of North Carolina, because it's a continental championship. It's basically on the stature of how big the Euros is in Europe. That's how big this particular tournament is because of the great soccer history that exists in the continent of South America, and the fact that the United States is hosting this tournament for the second time and Charlotte has this semifinal. It's a very massive match. I even checked the ticket prices and the tickets availability right before you and I got on together, and there's not a lot available in terms of the tickets that come directly from the venue. All that's out there right now are resales, which tells you that it's going to be a full building. It's going to be a massive attended game, and I'm looking forward to how spirited it is between the two fan bases here tonight, and of course all the neutrals that end up finding themselves in to Bank of America Stadium at 8 o'clock this evening.
Right now we've got Colombia as I think a very, very slight favorite to I guess it just says to qualify on FanDuel, but really this really does feel like a toss-up match. Just real quick about how you've seen both of these sides. Like, I think Colombia plays a little bit more of the beautiful game. I think Uruguay is a little bit more, in the corners of a boxing match, trying to just rough you up. It is definitely, I think, a little bit of a different style. Is that how you've seen it so far? Who has an advantage in that?
It is a contrast in styles, and I think Uruguay is going to try to bait Colombia a lot early and often, and I think Colombia is going to have to try to make sure that they stay above the fray. I think they might try to possess the ball a little bit more, play a little keep away from Uruguay, because Uruguay is going to want to be daring and kind of take you off the counter, but I think you can't ignore the offensive quality in both sides. You mentioned Darwin Nunez and Luis Suarez, depending on who kind of gets the lion's share of the minutes late. We'll see what happens. But also, when you think about James Rodriguez in Colombia, they are a very strong side as well. So I think it's going to be very intriguing and enticing, particularly who scores first. That's going to be, I think, the real one thing that you look at and say is the biggest thing from this perspective is who scores first, because that will at least cause whatever team is on the opposite side to try and figure out, okay, how do we tactically get ourselves back into this contest?
Will Palaszczuk, voice of Charlotte FC, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, to Greg Berhalter. We expect really that he will be replaced by USA Soccer. Going into this, I thought the conversation was pointless because I didn't think that they reappointed him, rehired him, so to speak, to get rid of him if this tournament didn't go well. But it didn't go well, and I think there is more of a groundswell that I anticipated, not just from fans and angry people in the media that didn't want him reappointed at all. But I think USA Soccer is kind of upset with what they didn't see, which was more of an attacking style. I think they felt like maybe this is a little bit too conservative a way they play. I don't know. I'm not sure we have enough good players. I think we have a lot of depth, but I don't think we have a lot of difference makers right now in the system, and I'm not sure what Greg was supposed to do with that. But if they don't, go, okay.
I think there's a lot that you can say that with this team, maybe with a more daring style, the players would show out a little bit more. I think that's the part of this that I feel like I come back to. And,
but that's who Greg is. That's who Greg was at the World Cup. They played very conservatively. There wasn't a lot of risk taking. I've referred to Greg as he is too risk averse for me. I'm going to let you finish, but even the match where they were down to 10 men against Panama, I was upset that they just, in the second half, they just sat back and absorbed. They didn't really play. They didn't play. It's Panama, not Portugal. They could have still played closer to a normal game, confident that we had better quality than them, but that's not what they did. They sat back and basically dared Panama to score.
And I think that's the problem with keeping him. And I think that's the one thing you've looked at over the course of this cycle is that they probably do have more talent that can be unlocked by a different coach. And I don't know if this group of players has been put in a scenario to succeed. And I think about the MMA midfield of Musa and Adams and
McKinney.
Really the kind of trio that's helped there with McKinney as well. I mean, McKinney hasn't always been fit. So from that perspective, there's at least, I think, a lot of hope in what you can do, but I think those guys were, with the conservative style, kind of hung out to dry a little bit, and you weren't able to get the kind of quality from the front three. I think not having Weah for the Uruguay game also very much hurt because there wasn't a real like-for-like sub. I do feel like when it comes to their top 11, it's as good of a top 11 as they've had in any cycle in the United States international history. There really isn't the backup plan that you could go to beyond Flo Balogun up top. Whether it's Haji Wright, whether it's Josh Sargent. I don't know if those guys are on the same level as Balogun is. And I don't know if there's another player with the kind of technical ability like Palcic has and somebody who can be as daring a runner as Timmy Weah. That's where I feel like the real heartbreak is for this tournament, is that the Tim Weah red card changed so many things and enabled Greg Berhalter to play as conservatively as he did. And that's the problem that I feel like you are when you are this country, is that people aren't going to attach themselves to that kind of style. You need a more daring manager. And I know from the USSF, they're probably hoping that a lot of this talk dies down, but you said it, Adam, they've lost the American Outlaws, and it's not quite, if you lose the New York Times, you lose the presidency, but when you lose the Outlaws, you've lost a lot. And I think that, the side that basically supports almost everything that the U.S. men's national team and the USSF puts out there, when you've lost that entity and you've lost the majority of the entities of that ilk, you're looking at a scenario where it's impossible to win back public opinion, even with us hosting the World Cup. You are going to get a roadmap into the, qualifying stages. You won't have a qualifying scenario that you'll have to get into for 2026, so that's at least an advantage. But that's also a bit of a curse because you don't have what you would consider to be the kind of competitive matchups. This was supposed to be your in lieu of a qualifying tournament, and you wasted that opportunity, and now you basically have to figure out and get your ducks in a row with a buyout for Berhalter, and also find a coach for an organization that, to their credit or discredit, is not exactly the most solvent organization financially.
No, they're not, and it's sort of an old boy network or everybody was complaining about Bronny James and nepotism. Hello, Greg Berhalter, right?
Well, that's the thing. I look at this too from. And this is kind of a cross-sport comparison, but if you've seen the movie Miracle, you saw that Herb Brooks very much tried to upset the apple cart. I feel like that's Jesse Marsh's problem, and the hierarchy just won't have it. He doesn't want to kiss the ring. He wants to be revolutionary. He wants to be daring. You saw that with Canada throughout the tournament, and he just doesn't give a you-know-what. So from that perspective, I felt like that was never going to work. You need somebody who's going to kiss the ring, but also know that, hey, we need to play a lot more daring.
Can we move off from the fantasy that Jurgen Klopp is going to come out of retirement coach the men's national team? I mean, not to mention it would
there's
take
not the money there.
$15 million to do it. But even so, even if they had the money, even if David Tepper would fund the men's national team coach, Jurgen Klopp's not coming out to do this. And again, you and I might differ in terms of overall quality, I think it was noticeable without Serginho Dest on the right. Joe Scally is nice, but he's not Dest. He doesn't have that dynamism. Yes, they missed
his loss was big, definitely.
Oh, I just think he adds so much. Like I mentioned before, I'm looking at tonight's match a little bit as a Liverpool inter-squad game with Luis Diaz for Colombia and Darwin Nunez for Uruguay. In some ways, Dest plays the position like Trent Alexander-Arnold does, where he is very much attack-minded on the right. He gets forward. He is great with the ball. He's not awesome defensively. But the defense necessarily hasn't been USA's problem. So they do need a different mindset at coach. Before I let you go, Will Palaszczuk, at Willie P. Style on Twitter, voice of Charlotte FC. You also do work with the Hornets. So what does it mean? Did they win a summer league title? What exactly happened that I missed? Well, my kid is watching summer league highlights all day long and Cooper Flagg highlights. Did the Hornets go 3-0?
They went 3-0 in the California Classic, which is the first stage of the summer league. The unfortunate part about this is that not a lot of the regulars were there, so it was, I think the most recognizable names were Nick Smith Jr., Bryce McGowens, and Leaky Black. The weird thing with McGowens is that he actually was waived once the tournament started, so he technically isn't even on the roster anymore. So the only two rostered players there were Nick Smith Jr. and Leaky Black, but it's at least a window into what Charles Lee looks like he's going to do. He wants to be defense first, and the fact that he got a group that was largely the same as last year's Summer League to play defense at a much higher level, I think, is an encouraging thing. We'll see whether or not it translates to the first team and whether it translates also to the Vegas portion of the Summer League, which may or may not include Brandon Miller on the floor. But it definitely is an encouraging sign going forward. Maybe a couple of those pieces latch on to either Greensboro or the back end of the Hornet bench, and hopefully that at least gives us some positive stuff and momentum going into training camp here for the big club.
I know because you picked Colombia to win. You've got Colombia over Uruguay tonight, correct?
Yes, I do.
All right, I am rooting for that, and I'm also rooting for Colombia to beat Argentina because it may or may not be worth plus 900 and plus 1,200 to somebody that might have a Colombia win over Argentina in the final, combined ticket. So I wish you well. Thank you very much. Have fun today, and try to stay out of the line of traffic down around Bank of America Stadium. It should be a madhouse down there.
Thankfully, I'll be there plenty of time in advance to where all I'll have to do is walk across the street from the doghouse to my commute will be very, very short, but getting out might be a bit of a challenge.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Will Palaszczuk, at Willie P. Style on Twitter. I'm fired up for the match tonight. I'm going to check it out. We'll also be doing a Canes Corner podcast tonight.
That's right. You'll do that tonight.
All about the prospects. You asked this question earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Who might crack the lineup from the forward group? Well, we'll talk to the guy behind the Canes Prospects Twitter. He covers Canes Prospects not only for Canes Prospects on Twitter, but also Dauber Prospects.
Oh, yeah, the big prospect website,
So we'll talk to him about it. Nick Bass is the guy's name. We'll talk to him. We did this, was it a year ago? And now that guy moved on. He moved on he's like a scout now.
Oh, really?
In the NHL. Yeah. He's
clearly that good.
Hey, man. It is not easy to know about prospects in hockey. It just isn't easy, man, because a lot of them aren't here.
Nope.
Especially when you deal with the Hurricanes. They're all in Russia.
Yeah. Canes are very big on drafting Russians.
Market inefficiency.
Yeah.
It's what they do.
Because a lot of teams are afraid to draft players from Russia because it's hard to get them here.
It is, absolutely. That's the one fear that some people have is like, do we know that Nikishin is coming over? Alexander Nikishin is one of the top prospects, not in the NHL, not in North America. He is a stud in Russia. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll rewind. But before we rewind, yesterday the PGA of America named Keegan Bradley as their Ryder Cup captain coming up for next fall at Bethpage. Our friend Shane Ryan, who will actually join us on the show tomorrow, has thoughts. You got to hear him next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Stop in today for a demo or visit us online at actce.com. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And even as the playoffs wind down in basketball and hockey, there's still stuff worth wagering on if you are so inclined. And FanDuel wants to give you incentive to just keep a little skin in the game. Open up the app and enjoy all summer long. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There is something for everyone every day all summer long. Go to FanDuel.com/AGS, FanDuel.com/AGS, and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Must be 21 or older and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
If you or a loved one have been a victim of crime, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety Office of Victim Compensation Services provides programs to help you find peace of mind. They are here to help you apply for benefits that you may qualify for to recover from hardships such as lost wages and medical expenses. To learn more, visit ncdps.gov/4victims. That's ncdps.gov/4victims. Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, 2.5 million North Carolinians are members of an electric cooperative. Every day, this network of 26 electric co-ops is working together with local members like you to power a brighter future through innovative energy technologies, community support, and enhanced grid reliability. Learn more about our brighter future vision at ncelectriccooperatives.com. North Carolina's electric cooperatives, powering a brighter future.
This is Adam Gold.
Subway Series, Game 2. Mets, Yankees should be fun. Good luck to the Yankees, not at all. The Mets are underdogs at home, plus 110. No respect at all for the team that is playing the best baseball in the month of June.
How McRude.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Dennis Cox producing the program. We're going to rewind it a little bit. You'll hear from Chip Patterson, and we will talk about Cooper Flagg as well. Some things we have covered here on the program, but I mentioned it before the break. Yesterday, out of nowhere, and although the news actually broke on Monday, but yesterday was the press conference to announce Keegan Bradley as the U.S. Ryder Cup captain coming up for next fall, next September at Bethpage in New York. The speculation was always that, man, this is Tiger Woods, Ryder Cup. He's going to be the captain, blah, blah, blah. Well, Tiger is right now, honestly, busy trying to negotiate some sort of a brokered arrangement between the Public Investment Fund, which is the financial backing of Live Golf, and the PGA Tour to get the two tours to, in some ways, unify and reach a common ground on allowing a lot of great players to come back and play on the PGA Tour. So that is taking up all of Tiger's time since he's not playing any real golf, although I think he's going to be at the Open Championship next week at Royal Troon. Anyhow, so Golf Channel was obviously covering this yesterday, and my friend Shane Ryan, who writes for Golf Digest and is an author, especially about one of the Ryder Cup they couldn't lose, about the one they just won at Hazeltine, the Whistling Straits. We talked. We're going to talk to Shane Ryan tomorrow, but he was on Golf Channel yesterday, and I'm fairly safe in saying that I don't think he was pleased by how this came down.
This is one of the most stupefying decisions in the history of the sport of golf, okay? The only way this would have made sense is if John Linder sat up there and said, look, we were in a tough position. The pipeline is empty because Tiger doesn't want to do it. Phil's at Live. So we interviewed, 30 people, and you wouldn't believe how impressive Keegan Bradley was. He blew our socks off. This is our guy. Then you start to say, okay, I kind of get it. They didn't talk to him. He didn't know this was coming. They got on a phone call as soon as they could. They looked at a list, and apparently Keegan Bradley's name, which is a shock to everybody else, apparently it was this unanimous pick, eureka moment. Total enlightenment came over Keegan Bradley's name. I don't get this, okay? If you look at Linder's presser, his quote in the press release from yesterday, he cites his experience, his relationships, and his passion. Let's look at experience. He's played in 2 Ryder Cups. It's the lowest total for an American captain in 30 years, all right? He's never been a vice captain. He's certainly never been a captain before. There's no experience. His relationships. Keegan Bradley, I thought, had a wonderful moment in the presser where he said, I regret coming out on tour and treating everybody like they were my enemy, especially when he sees how the young guys are all friends today. By his own reckoning, this is not the first time he said this, he doesn't really have these relationships. And then we go to passion, which I'll grant him, but it doesn't amount to a hill of beans.
Not happy about the process. We can separate the two things. Keegan Bradley could end up being a perfectly fine Ryder Cup captain.
Could be great.
Essentially,
the whole thing.
He's the coach, right? He could be fine, but the process wasn't. They were not prepared for Tiger Woods to say, I can't do it. And that's where the PGA of America was. That is shoddy work. Shoddy work. The person he referred to was the president of the PGA of America, right there, who was part of that press conference yesterday. Weird situation, but thrilled for Keegan Bradley, who loves this event, and he should. It's the greatest event, I think, in sports. All right, let's rewind. I would point this out as well. Keegan Bradley, for his effort, 2 Ryder Cup teams. Didn't win either, but that's not his fault. He went 4-3-0. 4 wins, 3 losses, no matches halved in 2 Ryder Cups.
It's above 500.
Actually, they probably should have won in 2012. That was the comeback from 10-6 up when Europe won 8.5 of 12 available points on the in Sunday singles. It was that. It was crazy, a crazy collapse by the United States. All right, now let's get to the rewind. Let's start with Cooper Flagg. For all of Team USA getting together, and Steph and LeBron and Kevin Durant, and then just the cameo visits from Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade, which made the rounds. The biggest story coming out of Monday was Duke incoming freshman Cooper Flagg. I talked to Rob Dauster of Field of 68 about the Cooper Flagg experience.
The reason why I am trying to personally keep my expectations a little bit lower for Cooper Flagg coming in is that he is going to be 17 years old until I believe mid to late December. I think it's December 21st is his birthday.
Yep.
If he was born 10 days later, he would not be eligible for the 2025 NBA draft. He would have to go to the 2026 NBA draft, regardless of whether or not he was in college this season. And when you are that age and you are coming into college basketball, it's not an easy transition to make. The development between players physically, mentally, their understanding of the game, and that what should be their senior year in high school is enormous. Like that 16 to 20 year range is when you make the biggest jump as a basketball player. And with Cooper, it's okay. Let's try to keep this in check because he is going to be a 17-year-old playing against guys like R.J. Davis is 23. Hunter Dickinson is 24. Like these are guys that are 6 and 7 years older than him, fifth-year players, sixth-year players in college. And then you go and you watch him play against these guys in the NBA, some of the NBA's best players. And like, just to keep it in context, this is a practice. This is a scrimmage. I guarantee that like Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday and these guys aren't playing the way that they would if this was, say, the NBA playoffs. But it's still, you're going up against these guys, and you are performing at a level that is about probably better than what we expected. And so my two biggest takeaways were, one, I think the jump shot is better than I thought it was. Like you can see that he's been putting in the work. He shot 40% in high school this past season. He made, he had a hang dribble pull up off of a ball screen over Anthony Davis. He had a catch and shoot three in the corner. Yeah. Like I think the jump shot is real. And he also has really improved his ball handling. Before it was kind of like, it was functional. It was a little bit high. I don't want to say it was the tightest handle in the world, but he kind of got the job done. Whereas now, he's bringing the ball up in these scrimmages against Drew Holiday, who is a shorter, tougher, stronger defender, the kind of guy that can climb up under Cooper Flagg and give that what I thought would give him problems, and it didn't give him any problems. So I am now sitting here saying, like, I'm trying to temper my expectations, but also, like, my hype train is kind of getting out of control. Like, this dude is really, really good. And the last thing I'll say about him, my favorite thing about him as a player is, like, he is uber talented defensively. He is a great shot blocker. He is a big-time scorer. He is a guy that can get to the glass. He is someone that can create for his teammates. He's unselfish, but kind of at his core, like, he's all of these things. He's one of the most talented prospects that we've had coming into college, probably since Zion Williamson. But my favorite thing about him is he's like at his core, he's a connective piece. He is a player that makes everybody around him better. He is a guy that will, he'll average some points, he'll average some rebounds, he'll get the counting stats, but he's also going to average a bunch of assists. He's also going to be a guy that makes the right pass, that makes the right rotation defensively, that blocks some shots, that gets some steals, that is switchable. He's everything that you want out of a team to put on the roster and make the team better overall. And he also happens to be the most talented dude that Duke is going to have next year. And I think that Shire did a really good job putting talent around him. I'm really fired up about what Duke can be next season.
I saw so much the hype machine around Cooper Flagg, and I get it because I don't know what to make of what we saw. And by the way, there was somehow circulating the full fourth quarter from that scrimmage, not just highlights, the full fourth quarter. You could have watched it. I watched it on my phone yesterday. And he didn't play the entire fourth quarter. He had to fast forward about 4 or 5 game minutes in, which is probably 10 minutes into the video before you actually saw Cooper Flagg on the court. And then my biggest takeaway is that he just looked like he fits. He just didn't look out of place among all of those stars. He can obviously play. If Duke gets good performances from some of their incoming freshmen, but primarily it's Proctor and Foster and like Sion James, the transfer from Tulane, who was with Proctor at the Chris Paul, the CP3 elite camp, and just crushed it. If they get good performances out of some of these guys, they could be amazing next year. But, I mean, they got 10 new players.
A lot of turnover.
I just it's hard to fathom 10 new players on a college roster. It really is hard to kind of just process all of that.
By the way, Flagg is supposed to be going into his senior year of high school.
Yeah.
He reclassified to get to college 1 year early.
He won't be 18 until almost Christmas.
Yeah.
Wow. Stunning. And even more impressive that he didn't look out of place. All right, Chip Patterson joined us here as he does every Wednesday. And Big 12 Media Day started, and Brett Yormark is the commissioner of the Big 12. And he was bombastic. He made a lot of statements. He called the Big 12, obviously, one of the top 3 conferences in America. And Chip and I talked about the stability of the Big 12.
The man had a podium, and he still felt like he needed to hold his papers right up here. And he was moving his hands like this for those of you who are watching along on YouTube or live. And he was saying, "We have the deepest and most competitive conference. Every game will matter. And I'll say it again." And those were his words. He said, "I'll say it again. We have the deepest and most competitive conference, and every game will matter." Now, I agree every game is going to matter. And I agree that the distance between the tiers of the Big 12 as a 16-team conference are tighter than the distance in tiers of any other power conference. And I agree that there is not a bottom group that outside of Arizona State, you really don't feel like you know who's going to sink to the bottom. That, as Brett Yormark is saying, the difference between bowl eligibility and spending some time on the couch at home is probably 2 touchdowns in October.
Right.
And that those stakes do make the Big 12 an incredible product to tune into, to follow, and to watch, to gamble on as well. I do think that Brett Yormark's position ignores the fact that of the 4 power conferences, the Big 12 is the least likely to have multiple teams in the 12-team college football playoff. And that the Big 12 conference, both in the eyes of the odds makers and other analysts, do not have a lot of schools that you can definitively say are competing at the highest levels of college football. But if we're going by you're the 3rd best conference and the rating score is on stability, yeah, you're the 3rd most stable conference. If your rating is on,
who would be the other 2?
I mean, the SEC and the Big 10 would be 1 and 2. Big 10.
What's more stable than the ACC right now?
The Big 12.
How?
Because the Big 12 doesn't have members actively suing the conference.
Oh yeah, but they're not leaving.
Stability rankings have to take into consideration multiple lawsuits and pending litigation as a threat to stability.
All right. Now, once Chip explained it, I understood it. I am less worried about Florida State and Clemson leaving because I just don't know how they're going to do it without coming up with $500 million. I just don't know how you do that. There won't be. I'd be stunned if there were a settlement. Stunned if the ACC essentially put a price tag on the league.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
But I understand what he's talking about. Yes, Florida State is actively trying to sue their way out. Clemson is doing it, although I think more passively than actively. Either way, I think if both had the door open for them, they would walk out of it. I just don't see that happening. And to me, stability is what are you about? Who are long term? And the ACC has had one departure since South Carolina left the league in the 70s, and that was Maryland. They replaced Maryland with Louisville, which is honestly, by every measure, an upgrade. Anyway, real quick, Dennis Cox, thank you very much for filling in for Victoria
my
today.
pleasure.
2 weeks from today.
Yep.
We're leaving for Charlotte.
We will be in Charlotte.
That's
ACC
today.
Media Days.
That's right.
2 weeks from today.
Wednesday, Thursday of 2 weeks from now. For me, I know we're going to talk to a lot of players and coaches. That's the least fun.
Yeah.
Right? I like this kind of stuff. This is the stuff that interests me in July anyway. Like, yeah, how good you're going to be. What's your schedule like? Man, those are tough ones to do. Those are tough conversations to have. You can't make me care in July about the first month of your season. Dennis, thank you so much for your help today. We'll see everybody tomorrow on the Adam Gold Show.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen.